breaking news into the Fanfare news feed.
Well, here we are again. I don't think it's any secret. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton joined her husband in defying a bipartisan lawful congressional subpoena to show up today. I think what's most disappointing to the Oversight Committee is the fact that we have, in good faith, negotiated with the Clintons' attorneys for 5 months. Throughout the past 5 months, they've implied to us they were trying to make a date work. In fact, the last date we had, they notified us 3 days beforehand, said that they would love to come, but they have a funeral to attend. And we have bent over backwards to try to schedule the Clinton. No, I'm still talking. I'm still talking. Go ahead. Hey, get him out of here. You're not even a reporter. Get out of here. So here's the situation. We're going to hold both Clintons in criminal contempt of Congress. We believe that because this subpoena was issued in a bipartisan fashion, the Democrats acted the day that the subpoenas were voted on in the subcommittee like they wanted the Clintons to come because they at that time, if you go back, they were wanting me to subpoena the estate, which I did. We subpoenaed the estate and got all the documents, everything. That was what the victims asked. That's what the Democrats asked. I think that's what the American people wanted. We subpoenaed the estate, got 100% of the documents. I have subpoenaed the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi for the documents, which they are producing. Now, we don't like the speed. We all wish the documents would come in quicker, but we've gotten tens of thousands of pages of documents from the Department of Justice. And remember, they made a big document drop, and the Democrats cried foul because they said they didn't.
Demanded redactions.
Right, they wanted more redactions. So they're double and triple checking this. And the Department of Justice is complying with our lawful subpoena. The estate complied with our lawful subpoena. Bill Barr, Alex Acosta came in and were deposed because of our lawful subpoena. This same lawful subpoena was issued to the Clintons, and they've defied it. And you know, Bill Clinton's trying to play the victim card here. Only Bill Clinton could try to triangulate something that's happened, a terrible atrocity to these survivors that have had to endure who knows what from Epstein and Maxwell. So
and their associates.
So we're trying to get answers to the American people. We're serious about it. Once again, not a single Democrat showed up. You know how many depositions we've done? There's always a Democrat here. The former President of the United States, former Secretary of State, neither one of them, not a single Democrat here. So I think the questions that should be asked to the Democrats on the committee are do you still support hearing from the Clintons? Because some have asked what's Hillary got to do with anything. Well, Jeffrey Epstein claimed, and I don't know if this is true or not, because I think a lot of what Jeffrey Epstein said was just not true. But he has said that he helped set up the Clinton Foundation. There are records that would imply that Epstein helped raise money for the Clinton Foundation. And the last thing, we are going to depose Maxwell. As you know, I've subpoenaed Maxwell. We have, and her lawyers asked us to wait till the Supreme Court or the court ruled on her appeal. Then the lawyer said she was going to plead the fifth. We are going to depose Maxwell. We felt like Hillary Clinton could offer some information on Maxwell because remember, Maxwell attended Chelsea Clinton's wedding, so obviously
Cartoon Network called and they want you to take your job back. Okay.
I'm trying to answer questions. We've got a paid disruptor here, so this is. I feel like the Clintons have initiated the war room. The press yesterday was pretty fair, I think, about Bill Clinton not coming because again, this was a bipartisan congressional subpoena. The Democrats voted for this too, So go ahead. Any questions?
Chairman, do you have any idea of timing of when this might hit the House floor? And will both of these advance
Yes. When will this hit the House floor? We're going to vote on it in committee Wednesday, so we're giving plenty of notice. We're having a regularly scheduled markup for the House Oversight Committee. We will mark up criminal contempt of Congress charges for both Clintons for defying a legal subpoena. Once it passes the committee, then it will go to the full House floor for a vote. They have to notice it 3 days and all of that. Yes.
There is obviously criticism that this is a political stunt. Why not focus your attention on trying to get the rest of the Epstein files released, the 99% of those documents?
We've gotten hundreds of thousands of pages of the Epstein files released, and we're still focused on getting the Epstein files released, and they're releasing the documents.
We can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can work on getting the documents, and we can also work on deposing witnesses that have firsthand knowledge of the events circling and surrounding Epstein.
Why aren't you asking the Democrats why they didn't redact the file? Why they wanted to redact the file?
As chairman of the committee pushing for transparency and accountability of the elites with the Epstein issue, what does the Clintons no-show say to you?
What do the Clintons not showing? Well, it's very unfortunate. I mean, this is something if you go back to that committee hearing when it was voted on in a bipartisan manner, there were several names that were agreed to subpoena. Obviously, Bill Barr. Listen, you need.
The record's public. You can take a look at it. Yes, no,
All right.
the record's public.
All right. Look, I just want to note for the people that are watching this live that there's a paid disruptor here that's acting very badly. I don't know where security is, but look, there's something. Just listen. I can't answer questions with this guy.
I'm going to show you the rest of this. It's only 3 minutes, but now we're seeing what the Democrats are all about. You remember they were screaming on every news channel, we got to have the files. We got to know what happened to Epstein. You got the Panicans. You got the people, the Black Pillars. Everybody was saying Pam Bondi, we're not doing anything about Epstein. And then, of course, the two main people probably in the Democrat Party, they get subpoenaed, and neither one of them shows up. And then nobody wants to cover the fact that Hillary and Bill blew off their subpoenas like nothing. You're seeing something really big happen here, and this is not where the Democrats thought this would be at all. They never thought that they would be bringing in Hillary and Bill for questioning.
It's what you want.
Let's just disregard. Answer this next question.
No, I'm not answering this question. So, one more question for anybody up here. Yes, go ahead.
That they're willing to appear before your committee in an open setting. Would you be willing to do that?
I think that's something we can talk about. But you remember, Hunter Biden said that, and he never did show. So I think that the Democrats are trying to stall, hoping that something else will happen. They were wanting to turn the attention off of the Clintons, which I think is very unfortunate because a week ago the Democrats on the Oversight Committee wanted to hear from the Clintons. They wanted to hear from everyone.
Well, that's an allegation, right? Obviously, they didn't show up today. They're only interested in this subject when it doesn't involve victims and it doesn't involve the political operatives in their party. That's the only time they're interested. When it involves the Clintons or victims, obviously, they're actually not interested, unfortunately.
So here's the real question here. Why wouldn't you want to have Bill Clinton come in and testify? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you want Hillary Clinton to come in and testify? Why wouldn't you want to hear from them? Well, the Democrats did vote with us. They did vote with us, and they didn't show up today. No members showed up today. They sent their staff, but they didn't show up.
Maybe they knew that the secretary was not going to show up.
Yeah, and I would also suggest to you that in their statement, they said they indicated they would like Ghislaine Maxwell to come testify. We would too.
We would too.
And so the question I pose to them is, do you want us to go in? Because as far as I know, I'm one of the few that have actually gone into the federal penitentiaries to actually depose people. So we're willing to do that if that's what the Democrats want.
We're going to do that.
Yeah. Or do they want us to bring her here? So this is what people should be asking, and the Democrats don't want to be here today. They maybe they knew she wasn't going to come, but the bottom line is this: the Democrats voted for this. They didn't show. We hope that next time they'll show. We hope they'll be there and vote for contempt next Wednesday. The other question I asked them is a million documents were produced. The Democrats asked that they be redacted, didn't feel they'd been redacted enough. I asked, what kind of redactions are they looking for? And hopefully we'll get an answer on that. But we didn't get an answer today because no Democrat showed today. But these are important questions. We're trying to get this information out and have been trying to get the information out.
And we're going to leave. It's unfortunate this disruptor was here. We'll be happy to answer questions throughout the day about this. We're serious about getting the truth to the American people. It's unfortunate the Clintons didn't show because this was a bipartisan congressional subpoena. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Think so.
Did you accept their sworn
Yeah, get the popcorn ready. You know what's funny is a lot of people kept saying for the last 12 months, I don't see anything happening. I don't see nothing happening. Pam Bondi, she needs to go away. Now, he just gave you the process. They now have to go into committee, and then after committee, they open it up to the entire floor. At that point, you will see who really, really, really wants to get to the bottom of this. And then they're going to file the contempt. And then Pam Bondi is going to have to act. This. You voted for this. This is where we needed to get to. I had to do all this pre-show because I'm going to start doing like a breaking news segment before we even start the show. Man, let me talk to you about one of my new partners here, and that new partners is Beam Sleep. You know, sometimes I feel, because of everything I cover, that my brain just won't switch off. I'm always thinking about what am I going to, and literally, I'm sitting in bed and I'm thinking about what am I going to do with tomorrow's show? How am I going to do it? What's Trump's schedule? And I have to keep doing all this stuff. And so between juggling the show, the marriage, the family, the dogs, my real estate business, silver, silver, and everything in between, I would sometimes just sit there, not because of anxiety, just because there's so much going on in my head. So I'd lie awake scrolling and thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, and then wake up feeling like I hadn't slept at all. And then, you know, luckily because I work for myself, I can get done with a show, get ready to plan the night show in between, maybe hit a nap, especially now that Robin isn't here for the next couple of days. But I've always felt a habit that actually wouldn't allow me to rest. And I didn't want to take any pharmaceuticals. I will not take pills, especially not to just sleep. Sleep's going to happen. I just need to make sure it's deep sleep. So while doing some research, I came across Beam Dream. The reviews caught my eye and the ingredients made sense. Magnesium, natural. L-theanine, like an amino acid. Reishi, and all things I could trust to help my body relax naturally. I decided to try it. And over time, it became a nightly habit I actually look forward to. Right before I go to sleep, I'll just take it while I'm talking to Robin, while we're watching a movie, and sometimes during the movie, it's like, I'm done. Really. So it's making it part of my routine. And I don't know, mid-2025, I fall asleep much faster. I stay asleep, and I wake up feeling genuinely refreshed. There is no way I could do this show sometimes twice a day without making sure I get good rest. Ashley and Robin are always telling me, nope, stop. You need to slow down. But now I can do some stuff that I wasn't able to do before. No grogginess, no hitting snooze 3 times, no taking the cell phone and wanting to toss it. Only thing that wakes me up now is if Midas wants to go out early. I just feel ready to tackle the day. I love that it's clean. I love that it's sugar-free and tastes like a cozy, hot chocolate. That's what it really feels like, a nice little Swiss Miss. So it feels like a little treat at the end of the day. Better sleep has made a huge difference in my energy, focus, and mood. It's a small habit that's made a big impact, and it's one I'm carrying throughout this year in 2026, because as you see, it's not slowing down. I remember earlier in the year, some of you guys were asking me, hey, Barry, what are you going to do now that Trump's been elected? And at some point, I thought, I don't know. Maybe it's going to be boring, but it's been anything since, and I don't think it's going to slow down. So if you've been struggling with restless nights or trying to want this, find deep, deep sleep, try and get rested, energized for the next day, I can't recommend Beam Dream enough. Right now, everybody here in Fanfare can get up to 35% off for a limited time. Just click the link below and use the code Cunningham at checkout. And with that, let's go ahead and start the show.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
Good afternoon, everybody. I hope you like that new way we're going to be doing the show. We're going to start off with some news right off the bat. Then I'm going to get into the show. There's a reason behind it in terms of the flow, and our partners want to have an early spot. And so we're going to be doing some different things like that. I want to let you guys know right off the bat, get ready for Monday. Monday is going to be a big day. Monday, I've got, and I've had him on the show a number of times, but I think a lot of you guys are going to want to hear from Kevin Demerit from Lear Capital on Monday. Silver right now is just, it's insane. It was at 91 when I just clicked the button. Now it's at 90.98. I mean, here's the silver number. As you can see right now, it's at $90.98 an ounce. So it was flirting with 90 when we closed yesterday. Now it's gone above 90, and who knows where it's going. And this isn't just to, tell you, get in if you can, but we're going to ask Kevin a whole bunch of questions. And what I'd like you to do is I'm going to post something later in the X group. I like to get some questions from you guys so I can get him ready for what you guys want to ask him about. I'm pretty sure at this point, y'all got lots of questions about silver and gold. And so I'm going to spend some time talking to him on Monday, but I wanted to announce now before then that today I put up a post saying, give me your questions for Kevin if you want to know. There's some crazy things happening right now with silver. And this is one of the things that is happening. The U.S. Mint has suspended, and this is John Rich, all sales of silver numismatic products as of today. They stopped selling it. You can't get it. What do you think that's going to do to the price? With the demand still there and people pulling back because they're terrified of what's happening right now. They can't control what's going on. So we're going to talk to them Monday, and that's going to be one of the questions. What do you mean you're going to stop selling silver? We're at that point now where gold and silver, just like, well, we've been telling you, is about, well, I can't say about to take off. It's taken off. There are people emailing me going, I might just retire. There are people who owned $15 and $20 silver and are seeing their investment, which at one point it wasn't an investment, it was a hedge, go up 400%. Can you imagine having bought silver at like 15 or 12 and now it's at 90? And, you know, if you had a decent amount, you're sitting on an absolute silver mine. You are. I had to check with Grok, and I'm like, is John Rich sure about this? And this is what Grok came out with. Yes, the U.S. Mint suspended sales of similar numismatic products on January 14th today due to rapidly rising silver prices, now over 90 an ounce. Your 2008 1-ounce silver proofs value rise accordingly, driven by higher melt value and, quote, potential increased demand. Check sites like PCGS or eBay for eBay, as it depends on condition and grading. If you were a part of what we did and started working with Lear and you got in, congratulations. One of the big questions we're going to have for Kevin on Monday, is it too late? Because I'm sure there's some of you right now going, man, I missed out on this. I don't think you did. You may not have missed out on it. Depending on who you listen to and what they say, some people are saying silver may get to as high as $300, $400, $500 an ounce. With everything going on in the economy and what's happening, it could get that far. I'm not sure if you heard today, but everybody was waiting for the Supreme Court announcement on tariffs on Monday. Last week. Didn't happen. It was supposed to happen today. Didn't happen. For some reason, the Supreme Court is pulling back and announcing what they're going to be doing with the tariffs. Tariffs. So there's so much happening economically. We're going to talk about some economic stuff in a while. What else did I want to show you right off the bat? So this, I think, is really important, seeing how we just heard about Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton not showing up for their subpoenas. The same reason why Steve Bannon and others ended up going to jail. Now, Pam Bondi, you have to act. Once it goes through the process, because I know some of you are like, oh yeah, lots of talk, committee meetings. They're going to go through the process. And probably within, I don't know, maybe 7 to 12 days, they will issue the contempt citation. And at that point, the Department of Justice through the U.S. Marshals are going to have to say, go pick them up. And at that point, all hell is going to break loose. You are now going to find out very quickly how much these Democrats really wanted the Epstein information. I got Fox on. Nobody's mentioning it. I bet you CNN and MS Now, nobody wants to talk about the Clintons not showing up. Zippo, no Democrats showed up. There's no Democrats on the news. There's no Democrats tweeting about it. I thought you guys really wanted to get to the bottom of everything. I thought it wasn't just a witch hunt against Trump. I thought you wanted to get all the evidence. I thought you said, what doesn't matter what party, whether they're Democrats or Republican, we need to find out everything. Crickets. Except for Bill Clinton. This is from Alpha Warrior. And I said, and some of y'all don't realize we're already in a civil war. If you're watching what's going on in Minnesota, if you're seeing everything the Democrats are trying to do, literally just 5 minutes ago on the screen, they've got 70 Democrats that want to impeach Kristi Noem. They are doing everything to destroy this country. And then I'm going to show you something that should put a little bit of a chill in your blood. So I put, and some of y'all don't realize we're already in a civil war. Alpha Warrior posted, former President Bill Clinton just threatened the government with violence. They want to induce a civil war, and their proxies on X, pretending to be MAGA, you know, the Panicans and the Black Pillars, are falling for it and losing bigly. And so I hope you can see on the screen what Bill Clinton said, and I would hope that you look at the very end of what he says. Let's read this. It's short. Despite everything that needs to be done to help our country, you are on the cusp of bringing Congress to a halt to pursue a rarely used process literally designed to result in our imprisonment. Now, this is the good part. This is not the way out of America's ills, and we will, quote, forcefully defend ourselves. What the hell does that mean? How can a former president say that they, quote, will forcefully defend themselves from accountability? How can a former Secretary of State, who is also a former presidential candidate, not show up for a duly issued subpoena? This isn't you. This isn't me. This is a former president and a former Secretary of State / presidential candidate who should, beyond anybody else, know what has to be done and the rules. And they both said, no, we're not playing by these rules. I guarantee you, if any of you get subpoenaed or summoned to court and you don't show up, very quickly, very soon thereafter, someone will be knocking on your door and they will be saying, I'm here to take your butt to court. But you got a former president and a former Secretary of State going, I'm not coming, and I will forcefully defend ourselves. And some of you may not think you're in a civil war. You're waiting for cannons and infantry. Oh, we're there. We are most assuredly there. These economic markets aren't responding solely to the demand of silver. There's something very nefarious going on, I finally believe. There's no reason for silver to have just a meteoric rise out of nowhere. How did it just go boom to boom to boom to boom to bam? How many banks are on the cliff getting ready to get sucked into the abyss? I'm looking at all this at the same time that we're looking at the stuff with the Federal Reserve, which we're going to be talking about in a little while. All of this is kind of coming to a head very quickly. You have to be somewhat obtuse if you don't see this entire picture and think to yourself, what the hell is going on? How close is President Trump getting to taking down the deep state he's been trying to get to? I had put up this image as my thumbnail, and I showed it to Rob, and I sent it to her out in Las Vegas, and I'm like, honey, that's just one amazing thumbnail. In 2023, there's a mugshot. In 2024, they shot him. In 2025, after he took office, that was his official photo. And then yesterday, I think he put the rubber stamp, the exclamation point of all time, right in people's faces. Let me just show you how much I care about your effing opinions. And he gave him the salute. Bam! I want you to look at that picture, because if you're on the brink and you're feeling kind of passive and you don't think that we're in a different kind of civil war, now might be the time to wake the F up. Now you might just want to realize shit's gotten real. It's real. A former president, former Secretary of State, say, no, we're not doing it. President Trump letting the world know, not just people in the Ford plant, that's letting the world know. F off. Telling Minnesota, retribution is coming. Watching silver markets looking like, the end of the world. Watching people freak out because of what's happening in Minnesota for no reason to freak out. It has nothing to do with them. If you're not a newcomer, then why do you even have to be out there? What are you protesting? Law? Guess so. Get yourself ready. I can't say it enough. I keep saying it. Some people get mad at me saying I'm being hyperbolic, dramatic. I'm like, look at all the signs. I am a student of signal. And I'm looking at signals right now, and I see so much happening, and I don't have the ability to take a summary of all this stuff other than to this isn't normal. This isn't how things usually go. Why is this happening? Every single thing that I can see, everything that you guys can see that's happening before your eyes, in of itself might be one thing, but when you put them into a collective and realize this is crazy. It's dangerous. We have armies in America fighting and training against American soldiers and law enforcement. And they're not even denying it, that they have these, quote, activist camps telling people how to fight ICE. This is Minneapolis, Minnesota, a very small area of Minneapolis, by the way. It's not the entire city. And we see ICE getting ready to surge in Chicago and California and New York. If they're getting tens of thousands of people protesting crazy in Minneapolis, what do you think is going to happen when they go to New York? How do you think the biggest city in America is going to respond? The nuts in the biggest city in America are going to respond when ICE rolls out there. Have you thought about that? You're seeing videos of white liberal women shaving their friggin' heads. We have reached a level of psychosis I don't think we've seen in this country before. It makes no sense. These people have been gaslit. These people have been MK Ultra'd. They've lost their friggin' minds. So I don't know where you live. I don't know how you're going to defend yourself. I don't know what you need to do, but do it. Don't wait. I mean, I live in Boca. Ain't nothing really happening here, but I can tell you everybody's ready. They're ready with water. They're ready with food, just like a hurricane. They're ready with weaponry. Don't get caught without a chair when this music stops, because we're getting very, very close to something. Just my opinion, but I'm just seeing way too much craziness occur. Way too much. Way out of normal. Be careful. Now, I want to let you know, I got a whole bunch to show you. I'm going to do a show tonight because there's no way I'm going to get through everything today. At 2 o'clock, President Trump is due to come on. He's going to do a signing. And it's a very, very vanilla-based executive order. Nothing that should really cause a lot of problems. He's doing an executive order to say that schools can serve whole milk and 2% milk as well. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Like, all right, kids can drink whole milk. I don't care. I don't care what you drink. But I'm pretty sure when it comes time to, you guys got any questions? That's when the fun's going to start. It'll definitely start then. All right, so let's get into the show because I got a whole bunch of stuff. I got some old, got some new, got some stuff borrowed. Not getting married though, so give me 1 second and we'll get to all of this today.
It's genius. It's pure genius. America is the country that started the AI race. And as President of the United States, I'm here today to declare that America is going to win it. We're going to work hard. We're going to win it.
Why do so many financial experts call silver the most undervalued asset today? Because silver is essential to the future, from solar tech and electric vehicles to the explosive growth of artificial intelligence. Demand is rising fast, and yet silver is still trading at a bargain. With billions pouring into AI, silver prices have only one place to go, and that's up. In fact, silver may be the most overlooked asset class in financial planning. The opportunity for silver is well documented. The market for silver could double or even triple by 2026. You see, I believe in hard assets like this bar of silver. You can hold it in your hand, you can put it in your IRA, you can put it in your home safe, and relative to gold, it's very affordable. That's why I urge you to call my friends at Lear Capital and get their free report, The AI Revolution, and see why silver prices could be set to soar. Call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. But don't wait. We all know. We've seen it. The government can print lots and lots of dollars, but they can't print silver. I'm just watching that play and going, I'm going to have to redo that. Everything I said there actually came true. It has indeed doubled. And I have to watch out with my little prop of gold here, because now that's no longer just a little prop. That's $1,200 worth of gold right here. That little thing. Oh my goodness. More things, they just keep changing. All right, so let's get into it. This is President Trump and a gaggle after the Detroit speech.
And we'll act accordingly.
On sanctuary cities, that U.S. airstrikes, if it comes to that, will have the result of protecting the protesters.
Well, you never know, do you? You never know.
Do you think it's,
So far, my track record's been excellent, but you never know.
do you think it's going to be something kinetic like that, or more like cyber? Or
Well, I can't tell you that. I know exactly what it would be. We have to make a decision.
Sir,
But I can't be. Obviously, I can't be telling you.
timeline? Yeah, timeline.
Sir, Jamie Dimon said today that it's not a great idea to be chipping away at the Fed's independence. Do you think Jamie Dimon's wrong about that?
Yeah, I think it's fine what I'm doing. We have a bad Fed person. He was extended by Biden. And, yeah, I think he's wrong. I think it's wrong. He's done a bad job. We should have lower rates. Jamie Dimon probably wants higher rates. Maybe he makes more money that way.
On sanctuary cities, sir.
Also was talking about the 10% credit cards. The House Speaker said that it could have negative side effects if it was imposed through Congress. Are you concerned about that? Have you talked about
No, I'm not. I think that people that are paying 28% interest should be protected. We're talking about for a one-year period, but when you have a bank, whether it's Jamie Dimon or anybody else, charging people 28, 32%, 30%, 31%, one case 35%, no, I'll help those people. That's all right.
Sanctuary city, sir, in your speech you said...
It's a one-year 10%. Let the people have a break.
In your speech you said that you're going to be cutting off funding for sanctuary cities on February 1st.
That's right.
What kind of funding?
You'll see. It'll be significant.
All federal funding?
On healthcare, is there something that you can do with insurance companies to bring?
So that right there, that was a big one. He's cutting off all federal funding for sanctuary cities. Very interesting that he said that, because I'm going to show you an interview today that Mayor Fry had with Fox. I can't believe he went on Fox, but here's what President Trump said. It says, effective February 1st, no more payments will be made by the federal government to states for their corrupt criminal protection centers known as sanctuary cities. All they do is breed crime and violence. If states want them, they will have to pay for them. Make America great again. So everything that we're seeing President Trump do, I mean, literally every single thing, is what is he able to turn off? Now, you can count on it. They're going to run to some liberal judge, and some judge in some area, maybe Bo Asperger, is going to go ahead and say, you can't stop it. And then they're going to just go ahead and appeal up, and then they'll appeal from there to the Supreme Court. And in the interim, you're not getting any money. Nothing is going to be flowing. So even if Bo Asperger says you can't do it, once they file the appeal and then go to the Supreme Court, it'll be stayed and no money goes out. It could be a year. It could be longer. So now all of a sudden, California, New York, Chicago, rather Illinois, and Minnesota are going to have to now themselves find a way to feed and house and do everything else with these people, which they can't. They're already just about bankrupt. So this is a huge blow to them. And of course, the media doesn't like it at all.
Premiums like you're doing with
Yeah, I'm going to meet with the insurance companies, but I want the money to go directly to the people. It's very simple. Into a health care savings account, but directly to the people so the people can buy their own health care.
Mr. President, on Thursday will be the 6-year anniversary of you signing the Phase 1 trade deal with China, the signature on it. Would that deal open Chinese markets to U.S. goods? It protected intellectual property. Can we get back to that?
Yeah, we can. We're doing very well with China. I have a great relationship with President Xi, as you obviously know. We're doing really well. We're making a lot of money with China.
But can you open their markets to U.S. goods?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Intel Iran says that it will retaliate in the instance of U.S. strikes against U.S. assets in the Middle East. What do you say to U.S. service members about why it is worth the risk to intervene in Iran?
Yeah, Iran said that the last time I blew them up with the nuclear capability, which they don't have any longer. So Iran said that the last time. They better behave.
Mr. President, Intel stock is really high after you invested. Are you going to invest more in Intel?
Yeah, I like it. So, well, I don't know about Intel, but I'll invest more in other things. So, as you know, Intel came to see me. They needed help. And I said, I'll help you, but I want 10% of your company to go to the United States of America. And we made, because of that deal, tens of billions of dollars. The stock went very up and very high, and we made tens of billions of dollars. They walked away and they gave us a lot of money, but they did a great deal for themselves because their stock has gone up. As soon as we went in, Apple went in, NVIDIA went in, a lot of smart people went in, they followed us. So yeah, we're doing that. We've done other of those deals. In Alaska, we did a deal where we got a big piece of a company where we were helping them to get a road. We're the only ones that could have done it. And we said, we want something out of the company for the United States of America, okay? So I believe in that. We have some other ones that we're looking at. I believe in that. If it's up to us, if they can't do it without us, and then I say, well, we'll do it. If you were a private guy, you'd say, what do we get for doing it? Now, I don't want anything for myself. I want our country to be rich as hell. But with Intel, we made billions and billions of dollars, right?
So, Mr. President, on Iran, do you have a message for the leaders currently of Iran?
Yeah, the message is they've got to show humanity. They've got a big problem, and I hope they're not going to be killing people. And I'm going to have a report very soon. It would seem to me that they have been badly misbehaving, but that is not confirmed.
Secretary Ben Bessent, hostage rescue effort that ended in disaster.
Well, it was a disaster for Jimmy Carter. They had all sorts of problems, and the helicopters were crashing and everything. You know what it was? The exact opposite of Venezuela. Do you agree with that? Do you agree? As a reporter, who are you with? Who are you with?
I'm with the Financial Times, sir.
Oh, good. Well, it's a nice paper.
So are you committing not sending U.S. troops into Iran?
Why would I tell you that? I don't talk about military strategy with a reporter, you know, even though I do like the Financial Times.
Secretary Bessent.
Are you consulting with our allies regarding Iran? What are they telling you, and why do you think the
Well, I'm not going to tell you what they're telling me. I don't tell you what
they... Why do you think the Iranian leadership continues to defy you, Mr. President?
You think they are?
Well,
it's only been a couple of days.
They continue to kill protesters.
Well, they said that about Venezuela, too, you know. It's only been a couple of days. They haven't defied me. They haven't done anything as far as we're concerned. But it looks like they're killing a lot of people, but it has not been confirmed. I'll know very soon.
On Greenland, sir, the premier of Greenland said today, we prefer to stay with Denmark. Do you see that as the
Who
final
said
word?
That?
The premier of Greenland.
Well, that's their problem. That's their problem. I disagree with them. I don't know who he is, don't know anything about him, but that's going to be a big problem for him.
Do you want to see democracy in Iran?
Ideally, you'd like to see it, but what we want to see is we don't want to see people killed, and we want to see a little bit of freedom for these people. These people have been living in hell for a long time. You know, that used to be a hell of a country. I have friends that used to invest in Iran, and they did well with their investments. It was a great place. The people were great. Even the leadership was good. and now it's living in hell. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so you heard President Trump speaking as he was getting ready to get on a helicopter to go back to the White House yesterday. So all of this is happening. We're getting ready to see what's happening with the White House. They'll be coming on at 2 o'clock. It's 1:44. I want to cover a couple of things with you. Some of what is probably going to be talked about today. The media doesn't want to talk about it, so it's up to you guys to talk about it. And that's this. He says, under my stewardship, the economy is booming. A manufacturing renaissance and soaring household incomes are powering GDP gains that have not been seen in decades. And we're undergoing a disinflationary boom. The private sector is growing by over 5% thanks to most business investment we have ever seen, maybe in history. And inflation trends are looking good. All the smart money knows the hottest economy in the world is in the United States. Time to invest. Now, you know, the Democrats and even some Republicans are out there trying to say that the economy is not good. And unfortunately, too many people have a single perspective look. They're not looking at the whole of the economy. They're looking at what specifically affects them. And at the same time, the Panicans, the Black Pillars, and everybody else, they know that if they can infect you to thinking things aren't good, if they can try to convince your own eyes that things aren't good, it'll sway something in the midterms. But I don't think they're thinking what's really about to happen. Number one, people need to begin looking at what their local and state government are doing to basically manipulate pricing. That is absolutely huge. If you don't know how much extra tax they're putting on, remember, if the trucks that drive to the grocery store are having to buy more expensive gas, then they can't really reduce the prices the way they want to because it's too expensive. Learn what your taxes are and what your local economy is doing. If you learn what your local economy is doing, it'll help you understand the broader picture. I live here in South Florida. I am in Boca. Boca is considered one of the most expensive places probably in the country. And even here in Boca, we are seeing our prices come down. So I have to feel very confident if we're seeing cheaper prices in Boca Raton, Florida, then most people are seeing very much cheaper prices. If we can go to the gas tank and say, wow, look at that. We're sub $3 for regular. We're sub $3 here. So if we're sub $3 here, then it has to be less expensive in other areas or somebody's playing a game with you. If we go to the grocery store and we know what we're paying for certain things, and Robin buys stuff that costs, most people would think costs more because she wants us to eat healthy. So we're not buying the Twinkies. I can't have blueberry muffins. We're not eating Cheetos anymore. It's all good stuff, and that stuff is more expensive. And even though it's more expensive, even when you go to Whole Foods or a fresh market instead, it's still less than it was a year ago. And so I don't think people are really taking into account when they go into a specific store, find those items that make more sense. There are going to be some more expensive things. And one of the things that I'm probably going to show you tonight, I don't have to have the video, but tonight I'm going to show you what the response was. I think I have some of it today in terms of the retail from Christmas. Every time we get these reports, it's like, wow, wow, wow. It just keeps happening. Yet people keep complaining. You have to wonder why. I see a lot of the black pill stuff because some of those guys have been on our show. I'm like, what in the hell's happened to you? Oh, we're growing audiences. People are clicking. Oh, okay. So I won't name names, but it's all bullshit. Excuse my language. It really is. If you just keep this in mind, that anybody who's doing well is going to do and use the stuff that President Trump and Republicans have put in place, that'll tell you how fake everything is. There was a discussion this morning that they want to do away with insider trading for people in Congress. And that's building steam where they can't do it. Now, you'd be surprised because I will say No, let them. Barry, how could you do that? How could you say that these people should be able to use insider trading? Oh, no, I don't have a problem with them investing their money. I don't have a problem with anybody investing their money. See, the part I have a problem with is why do they not have to disclose it for 45 days? That's the problem. If you buy XYZ company stock and you're a member of Congress, that should be public knowledge today. When you execute the trade, we should all know Nancy Pelosi just bought XYZ company for 45. Because now I don't care about your insider trading information if I got the same info. That's what needs to happen. That would stop all of it. You don't have to stop their right to make money. You have to stop their right to do it in secret. See the difference there? If you knew that Nancy Pelosi was going to buy Walmart, and because she knew that there was going to be some big contract coming, you're like, well, let me get some Walmart. You would know that specifically at the time that she did it, what was going to happen. You would have that, it would be completely fair. Hey, she just came out of a meeting with Verizon. And when she came out of this meeting with Verizon, she executed a sale of stock for 25,000 shares. She dumped them. Uh-oh. Dump your Verizon. It would stop right away. See, the only reason they do it is because they can, and the only reason they do it is because they have knowledge of something that's going to happen, and they know inherently that it's blacked out for 30 or 45 days. Just remove that. You don't got to do much. Just change the rule and say it has to. You don't have to have any votes, nothing. Just change the rule that every stock purchase by any sworn member of Congress has to be published. And that would be it. I would open up a fifth monitor and just have a column of watching people move. Oh, I better get some of that. Oh, yep, better get some of that. Think about it. It would be like having your own little crystal ball. You could just watch what these people do. I was going to call them a name, but I don't care about people making money. I care about them using information that we don't have access to. So right now, with everything going on with silver and gold and real estate, if you knew that a data center was being built in Memphis, well, actually you do know, I showed it to you. And I said, there's going to be property around that data center that's going to go up in price because they're going to have to build around there. If you know where that proverbial puck is going, you're going to profit from it. So don't, and you don't have to follow what I say, but I would just go ahead, let them keep going. Just change the rule a little bit. Just say that you have to disclose it. So we can all dip our beak and get some. But anyway, President Trump is talking about the economy and it's booming, and it actually is. What else I hear? I told you about the tariff not being issued today. And then this is bombastic. This is going to cause the Democrats to lose their complete minds. Look at this. Breaking in a huge win, the Supreme Court just ruled that congressional candidates can legally challenge mail-in voting laws, receiving a GOP challenge to the late counting of mail-in ballots. Illinois allows late mail-in ballots to be counted late after the election day for up to 2 weeks. And it's probably like that in other blue cities. SCOTUS has upheld Representative Bo's standing to challenge this law in favor of a single election day. Awesome, these laws must be overturned. So now what you're hearing is that before today, you weren't allowed to challenge mail-in voting. It was sacrosanct. You couldn't say anything about it. Now, it can be challenged, which means if it's challenged, all of that data that goes along with it, the chain of custody, how it was received, who had it, how many, who is this person, are they dead, are they alive? All of that now has to be or is challengeable. Now that the Supreme Court says you can challenge mail-in voting, now let's see what Trump's next move is to try and eliminate mail-in voting. That would be very, very interesting. And this is huge. And this is another reason why they're fighting. I'm trying to tell you the reasons why they are just completely wigging out. This one here, the United States has just experienced negative net migration for the first time in 50 plus years. 50 years plus net negative. And for those of you guys who don't know what that means there's more people going out than coming in. And I've got this video that, who's here? This is from Dana Perino this morning.
A new report revealing the U.S. experienced negative net migration in 2025 with estimated net flows of negative 295,000 to negative 10,000. That's quite a bit. The report attributes the negative number mostly to the sharp decrease in migrants entering the U.S., though it says removals and voluntary departures have also played a role. Authors of the study predict the trend will continue this year, 2026.
So meanwhile, where are all the people who are saying that, I need mass deportations? I don't see any, and not enough people are being deported. We got the first negative net migration in 50 plus years. Where y'all at? Where are all you complaining that not enough people are getting out of here? Yes, we need a lot more, but it's the biggest number in 50 years plus. It's working. It will continue to work. It will continue to ramp up. That's why they're fighting in the streets. That's why they don't want ICE. That's why they want to defund ICE. Did you know that one of the problems with Minnesota, actually Minneapolis, when Jacob Fry and Tim Waltz go out there and and they keep saying it, and they say there are 3 times as many ICE agents here than we have police. We only have 600 police officers in the city of Minneapolis. Well, comparable cities to that size have 1,000 or plus more of police officers. Remember, 600 police officers on a 3-shift divide isn't a whole lot of officers to take care of everything. That goes back to when they went through the whole defund the police. One of the things I think people are missing is that's what a city like that needs. Nobody's looking at that. Why? Every time they brag about it, we only have 600 police here. They're double or triple the amount of cops we have. I'm like, why? Why do you only have 600 police officers in Minneapolis? Have you asked yourself that? I don't know. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense at all. All right, let me see if I can get through this next interview that President Trump had with CBS. I believe that's what I have up next before he comes on.
Mr. President, thank you very much for doing this. We really appreciate it. We're standing here on an active Ford assembly line, a little bit of loud, incredible symbol of American manufacturing power, and I got a lot of questions about it. But I actually want to start overseas with Iran. Americans woke up this morning and they saw that you said help is on the way.
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's a lot of help on the way and in different forms, including economic help from our standpoint, and not going to help Iran very much. And, we put Iran out of business with their nuclear capacity, and now, depending on what's actually happening, nobody's been able to give us accurate numbers about how many people they've killed.
Well, on that point,
it looks like it could be a pretty substantial number, and that's going to be a lot of problems.
A lot of problems. On that point, you did say the U.S. would get involved if Iran started killing protesters. They have, by the many thousands, according to reports.
Well, we'll see what that is. I've heard 2 numbers, but we'll see what that is.
Well, now we're hearing that they're going to start hanging protesters tomorrow. So it comes back to the question, have they crossed your red line, or has the line moved?
I haven't heard about the hanging. If they hang them, you're going to see some things that I don't know what where you come from and what your thought process is, but you'll perhaps be very happy.
All right, so what he's talking about there is Iran has arrested some 23 or 24-year-old guy, and they think he's a ringleader in the protest, and they vowed that they were going to hang him publicly for everyone to see today. So President Trump last night, when I post up something's going on, is all the military guys were in the Oval Office late last night. So I don't know. And this interview took place just as he was done touring the facility during the press conference there yesterday. So a lot has changed between that time of this interview and today. And I hope nobody publicizes this kid getting hanged if they actually do that.
What do you mean by that?
We will take very strong action. If they do such a thing, we will take very strong action.
And this strong action you're talking about, what's the end game?
The end game is to win. I like winning.
How do you define that in Iran?
Well, let's define it in Venezuela. Let's define it with al-Baghdadi. He was wiped out. Let's define it with Soleimani. And let's define it in Iran, where he wiped out their Iran nuclear threat in a period of about 15 minutes once the B-2s got there. And that was a complete obliteration, as it turns out, which is what I said initially. Then some questioned it, and they said, Trump was right. So we've been right about everything. We don't want to see what's happening in Iran happen. And, if they want to have protests, that's one thing. When they start killing thousands of people, and now you're telling me about hanging, we'll see how that works out for them. It's not going to work out good.
There's so much going on overseas. Understandably, a lot of your focus has been on other countries. But when I talk to Americans, when I talk to your own voters, they want your focus to be on them, and they feel like it may be drifting. What do you have to say to them?
Well, Tony, we have the strongest economy maybe in the history of our country. If you went around this plant like I have, they just announced they're going to 24 hours. This is a Ford plant, but GM's the same, Stellantis is the same. They're going 24 hours all around the clock. They're enlarging every plant in this country. We're building more plants in the country than we've ever built. There's no inflation. You saw the inflation numbers. Inflation's very low.
It seems bad.
Our growth numbers are through the roof. Our job numbers are tremendous. We have the highest stock market we've ever had. Today, we hit every day for the last, I think, 48 times out of 11 months. 48 days out of 11 months, we've had the #1 stock market in the history of our country. So my big focus is here. But you can't be forgetting about bad threats. You can't be forgetting about an Iran with a nuclear weapon. You can't forget that there's tremendous wealth in the Middle East, and a lot of that wealth is coming over here to build plants. Saudi Arabia is giving us $2 trillion. Qatar is giving us $2 trillion. UAE is giving us $2 trillion. All of that is for the good of this country. So my focus is very much on this country, but you can't lose sight of the fact that we need peace all over the world. I've ended 8 wars. If we had those 8 wars raging, it would be very bad for this country.
Mr. President, you mentioned the market there. I've got a question that might affect the markets. It's the Jerome Powell situation. He's the Fed chair. I know you've said you had nothing to do with the investigation, the criminal probe into him, but you have been criticizing him for most of the last year. And even some prominent conservatives say it looks like political retribution.
And some prominent conservatives also love it. So, you got to mention them.
What do you say to that accusation?
As you grow older in this position, you have to mention the other side. More people like it than not. He's been a lousy Fed chairman. He was reappointed by Biden. I was a little surprised at that because I didn't think he really earned his stripes. He's been too high on interest rates, and I call him too late. He's too late to reduce. He should have reduced them by more. Despite that, we fought through that. In addition, he heads up a construction situation on a rebuilding of a little building, 2 little buildings called the Fed. Yeah. You know where they are. You've seen them a million times. I think I could have done that job. I could have fixed them up for $25 million. He's into billions and billions of dollars, and it looks like they won't open for a long time.
I've got, if I have time today, I'll show it. If not, I'll show it tonight. But I have an interview. Judge Jeanine, who's now a U.S. attorney, made an appearance on Hannity last night, and she explained exactly what happened with the Federal Reserve. And he lied once again. So something must be terrifying Jerome Powell that he had to go out and make that statement. And the whole story, the media is not reporting.
He's either corrupt or incompetent.
So on the question of corrupt or incompetent, you're right. Some prominent conservatives are criticizing this. I'll take your word that others are not.
Well, you don't have to take my word. What you should do is go out and interview some people, and you'll find out.
But on this direct question about political retribution, what it looks like, sir, what's your response?
I can't help what it looks like. Look, I've created the greatest economy maybe in history, and you're seeing that now. Plants are being built all over the country. We've never had anything like it. They're leaving Canada. They're leaving Mexico. They're leaving Japan and all over Europe, Germany, all over Europe. They're coming in. Bill Ford Motor Company. He just told me that he's never seen anything like what's happened. I also freed up some of the environmental nonsense which made it virtually impossible to build a car, and certainly to build a car for the right cost. And they're doing better than they've ever done. AI, we're leading China by a lot. We're leading China by a tremendous amount. We're leading everybody at everything. And then we had a big victory. I would say that even you would say that. We had a big victory with Venezuela. We had a big victory with Iran. We have a lot of victories. We don't have any defeats, and I want to keep it that way.
I've got an important question about the situation in Minnesota, the death of Renee Nicole Good. I've been speaking to her father, who is a big supporter of yours, like many Americans are, but he's heartbroken right now.
I can understand that.
He's heartbroken.
Did you know that? Why did it take until yesterday, January 13, before we found out that her father was a Trump supporter? With all the news carrying everything about Minnesota 24/7, now we find out that her father was a Trump supporter? You think that might have had something to do with her shaving her head and going into some activist camp? Do you think that she might have been a TDS? You think that might have had something to do with the fact that she decided she was going to trade teams, if you know what I mean, and have a wife and shave the head and go do... Now we find out. Thank you, Tony. That's the first time I've heard it. I did not know she was a Trump supporter.
Because his daughter is dead, that's obvious. He's also heartbroken because your administration so quickly has come out and said she's a domestic terrorist. What do you want to say to her father right now?
Well, I want to say to the father that I love all of our people. They can be on the other side. As you say, he might be on my side.
He is on your side.
And I think that's great. And I do. I think it's great. And I would bet you that she, under normal circumstances, was a very solid, wonderful person. But her actions were pretty tough. I mean, I've seen it many ways and many different shapes and forms. But the bottom line is, look, we have hundreds of thousands of murderers in our countries, killers. ICE is trying to get them out. They were let in through an open border policy of sleepy Joe Biden. ICE is working very hard to get them out. Their job is being made very, very difficult. And, when you look at that tape, it can be viewed two ways, I guess. But when you look at the way that car was pulled away, there are a couple of versions of that tape that are very, very bad.
I want to talk about the economy while we have you here. The inflation numbers came out. Overall, not bad, but grocery prices...
No, overall, very good. Good for us. Good for our country. Joe Biden had the highest inflation numbers in history, correct?
The direction...
I have them down to a level that they haven't seen in about 9 years.
And, Mr. President, help me understand. When I travel the country, and I go all over the place, and I talk to everyday Americans, they tell me they don't feel it because grocery prices
might not,
are up.
But they're going to now. I've only been here for 11 months, okay? And, the first few months were really rough, if you look at them, because I inherited a mess. I inherited a mess of crime. I inherited a mess of inflation. I inherited a mess of places closing up and going to other countries. And now we have the hottest country in the world. Tony, we have now the hottest country in the world. And a year and a half ago, our country was dead. We had a dead country. You wouldn't have a job right now. If she got in, you probably wouldn't have a job right now. Your boss, who's an amazing guy, might be bust, okay?
Might be
That's
what?
how bad. Might be bust. I doubt it in his case, but you never know. Let me just tell you, you wouldn't have this job. You wouldn't have this job, certainly whatever the hell they're paying you. Our country is rocketing right now. We have the hottest country in the world. If they got in, we would be Venezuela on steroids.
Mr. President, I'm just trying to be fair here, just trying to do my job, and I want to talk about this assembly line here.
To me, it's vibrant. Listen to the sound.
It's incredible, right?
I love the sound of an assembly line.
It's incredible. But they've got one not far from here. They just idled the electric vehicle plant.
Well, yeah, but it's going to gasoline vehicles.
Yeah, it's going to go to gasoline.
Well, but why don't you say that, Tony? You can't say...
You didn't give me a chance. I'm coming there. I'm coming around.
I agree. I said I want electric and I want gasoline and I want hybrids. I want everything. But you were going to be forced under the mandate to buy an electric car in a very short period of time. I didn't want that, and I ended that. Now people can have electric, they can have gasoline, they can have hybrid.
But are they going to have people to build these cars? The CEO of Ford said not long ago he's got 5,000 open mechanic jobs. He can't find people willing and able to build them.
That's a good thing, Tony.
Wait. Yeah, I'm glad he said that. How is that a bad thing? How is the media saying that they have all these openings across the country? How is that a bad thing? That is out of his own mouth. He did something, he promoted something, he said something positive and didn't realize he said it. The fact that people need people is a good thing. That's another thing that they never talk about. They never talk about help wanted. How many companies need people? How many companies need people who don't have the skills to do something? That's what we should be talking about in this country. Not the fact that you don't have a job, the fact that you don't have a job because you can't do anything. I'm sorry, there's not a whole lot of jobs out there where you can be an influencer. Some of you got to work on assembly lines. Some of you got to learn how to use AI. We got all kinds of openings. The problem is, it's not the unemployment, it's the quality of the people who are unemployed. What we did years ago to make our economy run, those jobs, that's not where we are right now. I told you yesterday how much I had to learn. I told you yesterday how much Ashley is learning in terms of editing and things we have to do. I didn't go to school for this. There was no such thing as this when I went to school. More than likely, most of you, and maybe even many people in your family, never conceived that we would have an economy based on this kind of stuff. The technology is where we need to do. If you're sitting at home eating bonbons and Twinkies and you haven't taken any even shop, your biggest skill is having babies, you're toast. And even the guy on CBS goes, man, there's a whole bunch of openings. Yeah, that's the friggin' idea.
That means it's vibrant. You could also have things where you have so many people and they can't get jobs. It's true. We are doing so well, it's hard. Now, what's going to happen is people are being trained rapidly, and you're going to have a thing called robots. And robots are going to be a big factor. I predict that robots are going to be a big factor in the future, and it's going to help out. But you have a situation now where our economy is doing so well that it's not that easy to get people. We're training people, they're training people, companies are training people, and they're doing well. Why do you know, that's a positive question you asked me. I don't think you asked it in that way, but we are doing so well right now that we're training people to take those jobs. One other thing, we terminated many federal jobs. Because that's a good thing, because they want to go private. The way you make our country great is you can't have too many federal workers, all right? Those workers are being trained to go into the private sector at a much higher salary.
Yeah, well, let's talk about robotics for a second, because that's a concern of a lot of people working, not only here, but all over the country. What is the future for jobs like these? One guy told me on the way in, he thinks it's a critical threat to his industry.
Well, you know, in one light, you're telling me that you can't get workers.
Well, that's what the CEO said.
Well, you said that, and then you said the opposite. You can't have it both ways. Look, we're going to need help because we're expanding so rapidly that we need people are going to make a lot of money. A skilled worker, a person with talent, education in what they do, not education in nuclear physics, education in what they do. They're going to make a lot of money. Federal workers are leaving the federal government where you have 10 people for every job, and they're going out and they're going into the private sector at 2 and 3 times the salary. And you see that all over. So I only say this. I think that robotics are going to be great because this country won't have enough people if we don't have it. Our people are going to be trained, and they're going to make more money than they've ever made before.
Last question, I think you'll be. I was very interested in a comment you made recently about nothing being able to limit your action overseas except for your own morality and your own mind. I'd like to take that same question and apply it here in the U.S. Is there anything that limits your power, your movement, your action here other than your own morality?
Well, I talk about morality. I'm a moral person. I don't like seeing death. I don't like seeing our people hurt. I don't like seeing the other side hurt either. You know, when we went into Venezuela, we lost nobody, but a lot of people on the other side were killed. I don't like that. Somebody else would say, oh, that's wonderful. I don't like that. So, yeah, it's limited by my morality, and I have a very high grade of morality, so therefore it's limited.
Not the Constitution, not the courts? That's what I thought you were going to say.
Well, the Constitution and courts, that goes without saying. But you're asking me what really can stop? We'll never get to the courts. We'll never get to the Constitution.
I would have loved if he would have just said nothing. Nothing can stop what is coming. I was praying he was going to say that.
Because I want to see what's good for our country. And you know what? The courts want to see that too.
Mr. President, thank you very much. For the record, I do think I'd have this job, even if the other guys won.
Yeah, but at a lesser salary. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And then, of course, you guys just watched the entire interview. I think it was like 12 or 13 minutes long. And he got done with that interview. And it was published all over online, different clips. And I believe CBS actually put it out there as well. And then they just attacked him. The liberals do not want anything that paints President Trump in any sort of good light, even on a CBS interview. They attacked him because he didn't attack Trump. It's a softball interview. What do you want? What exactly do you want to talk? Epstein? All right, well then how come Clinton and Clinton didn't show up? Well, that's not the same. That's exactly the same thing. Now, things are happening rapidly, and he has not come out for his 2 o'clock meeting. He's coming out it's 2:15, and whenever he comes out, we've got it. So I got to show you something that just literally came out, breaking news. And somebody had texted me about it. That was BLS Doom Crew. So you're going to talk about Greenland. Now, I don't know if you knew today, but today the officials from Greenland showed up at the White House, and they were having their meeting, and basically, Greenland to President Trump is a zero-sum game. It's it. We're taking it one way or the other. Either we come to a deal or we just take it from you. That's it. So if you're talking to somebody who says, take the deal or else, this isn't the guy where you try to play a pair of twos. This is the guy who's actually going to do what he said he's going to do. From what I understand, there are rumors out there that he offered Greenland twice their domestic GDP, twice their GDP, to let that be an American territory. Don't know what happened. Well, I kind of guess what happens. If this breaking news is correct, and I have no reason to think it's not, we're about to take it. Just in, Germany will now deploy troops to Greenland after Rubio and Vance meet with Danish and Greenland officials at the White House. President Trump is very serious about taking Greenland. It must never fall into the hands of Russia or China. So why would Germany put troops into Greenland? Now understand, if they're coming from Germany, which is obviously in Europe, it's going to take a while for them to get here. And you can pretty much assure that unless they're coming as friendlies instead of foe, Trump is going to move very, very quickly. This is escalating to the point where they're going to be sending people over here now. Why are they sending troops? Why is Germany sending troops to Greenland? Well, obviously they don't want Trump to get it. So let's see what happens there. Crazy, absolutely crazy. I told you there was a whole lot of news. I can't even cover it all at the same time as things are moving so quickly. Still waiting for President Trump to come on. In the interim, let me tell you about Chapter. As you know, Medicare can be quite confusing. As someone who recently myself turned 65, I can confirm this. Keeping track of enrollment periods, understanding all your options, and making sure you're on the right plan takes too much time and energy. And between Medicare scams, corrupt agents, and bloated insurance companies, it's easy to make mistakes that can cost you thousands. It can also cost you the relationship with your doctor, and also can cost you how you get your prescriptions in a timely fashion. That's why I'm happy I called Chapter. They're actually honest and the only Medicare advisor that looks at every plan nationwide, helping people save an average of $1,100 per year. People are relieved when they talk to Chapter, and I understand they're backed up because they are so busy. That should tell you something. This company is good, and they are very busy, so it's hard to get a hold of them. So just please keep calling them. They will get back to you. I asked them, I said, listen, there are people who are complaining that they can't get through. They're going to get to you. Call Chapter. learn how to save as possibly as much as $1,100 per year just by switching insurance companies. These guys won't push you to buy a plan you don't want. If you're on the right plan, they'll tell you, and don't worry about it. And their support is completely free. Just one 20-minute phone call is all it will take. So if you're turning 65 soon or have questions about your Medicare coverage, call them at 475-328-3545 to get the most out of Medicare. Most people wish they'd called sooner. So you can go to chapter at askchapter.org/Barry to book a one-on-one consultation, or call them at 475-328-3545. And I will be back in 90 seconds, assuming he doesn't come on in the next 90 seconds.
Welcome back to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
SB can get a job at Fox. He's so quick. So he went and looked up what exactly is going on and why did Germany send troops over to Greenland. And I want to show it to you. He got this information from Grok. So let's just assume that Grok has the right information. Here's what the information says. It says that for some reason it's not showing the whole thing. Grok doesn't allow me to scroll. But anyway, bottom line is Germany is deploying the troops. The primary context is the escalating diplomatic crisis triggered by the U.S. President Trump repeated demands that the United States acquire or control Greenland. He said the move is a part of a broader coordinated effort among European NATO allies, including Denmark, Sweden, Norway, the Netherlands, France, and Canada, some really powerful countries there, to increase military presence and activities in Greenland. I don't know about that, guys. I don't know if you want to do that. I don't know if President Trump says that this is what he wants to do, that you need to be sending troops over here. Tread very softly. Let's continue. He hasn't come on yet.
I want to echo your statements because as I spend time here, it is good to be back in Minnesota, Minneapolis. I am hopeful too, because even though it is cold outside, sunshine is the best antiseptic, and we are going to clean this out. We are going to stop it. We are going to make recoveries, and as Jennifer said, we are going to get the money flowing back to people like her organization who help the children, seniors. So I am very hopeful that we will right the ship and that we will emanate out from Minnesota into the other 49 states and ferret out waste, fraud, and abuse. The GAO, the General Accounting Office, believes that there is between 300 and 600 billion of fraud that occurs via the U.S. government every year.
We've heard the number before, but I can't even imagine that. I can't even imagine that they've been stealing 600 billion a year. But now that I've heard it a couple of times, even though I can't believe it, it's starting to make sense. We're starting to understand there is no Democrat Party. It is only a bunch, a cluster of criminals. They have done everything they can to subvert the will of the people by stealing your money and installing people who allow them to continue stealing money. They have put people in, and now you sit back and you think, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, these people, you wouldn't let them in to watch your kids. They're idiots. Ilhan Omar gets off the boat from Somalia. AOC was a bartender. Tim Walz, milkshakes. I don't know what he used to do, but you're telling me these are the people that are high-ranking Democrats? The cue ball chick, Presley? Rashida Tlaib? These are no, that could never have happened. They were installed. There's no way anyone's going to change my mind in that regard. You can't have people like that in government unless they were installed in government. And they were installed in government to continue to facilitate the grift.
Around 10% of our spending, in between 1 and 2% of GDP. Last week, President Trump indicated that he would like to raise the defense budget by $500 billion. We could do that and make our nation more externally safe by having an internal audit of where this fraud and abuse is coming from. And I want to thank you for all your work you've done.
Along with just imagine that. Imagine that President Trump wants to increase the defense budget. And of course, there's a lot of people out there screaming about that because they're not understanding why. I would hope if you joined me a couple nights ago, or if you haven't, maybe you go back and watch it. If you heard what Pete Hegseth was saying at that news conference, the speech he gave with Elon Musk, you would know where the additional money is going. It's not going to put boots on the ground. It's not going to do a whole bunch of crazy stuff. It's up there with freaking laser beams and stuff. That's where this money is going. That's what he wants to be able to do. He wants to be able to create these bombs that he can drop from a sky and cause people to poop themselves and pass out. That is the new military. That's where the money is going. And will that make us safer? I don't know. Ask Maduro. I think he could answer that right now. The Democrats have no power against any of this stuff, and that's why they're out here throwing rocks. They almost look like the Iranians and stuff. They look crazy. It looks like the Gaza Strip in Minnesota. You're affecting nothing. You're doing nothing. Meanwhile, President Trump's out here just doing all kinds of stuff, making America great again. That one person that came in the chat and said, it's only making other people, his buddies, rich. That is the stupidest comment ever. That is the most asinine comment that even some of the panicans and black pillars talk about. Well, it's only going to benefit, the rich people. Well, rich is basically a definition of the person who's saying it. If you have a beat up Honda and you want to buy a Lincoln and the other person has it, they may be rich. What's your definition of rich? Well, I know you can't even define what a woman is, so you probably can't define what rich is. But I'm telling you right now, he's making a lot more than the billionaires rich. A lot more. Barry, how can you be sure of that? Well, I can be sure of it because of what I'm seeing on my screen right now. And that would be that. Silver is now at 92, heading to 93. He's making a lot more people rich than the people that just are billionaires. He's just making the people rich who know what the hell they're doing and understanding how they need to get there. $93 a share, an ounce. 93. How can you sit back and say it's only going to benefit, the rich? It doesn't make any sense. And I mean, like I've shown you before, if you look at the 1-year chart, look at that. Look at that. Well, you can't see the chart. There's the chart. It goes straight up. But you just need to focus right there. 206%. 206%. The only thing I regret about silver is I wish I had bought 3 times the amount. That's my regret. As much as other people Should I? I was the same way. I'm like, hey, let's get in, honey. I'm telling you, if I had bought what I thought I should have bought, probably wouldn't be doing any videos right now. It'd be probably on someplace in Cayman Islands or something, having little island people give me a manicure and rub my toes. I know that probably grosses some of you out.
The PPI, the retail sales numbers came out today. What were the retail sales?
This was solid. This was solid. It captures how consumers spent our money right around Christmas time. So November retail sales up 3.3% from a year ago. This is where we spent. Clothing sales up 7.5% online. More than 7% strong numbers for beauty, for restaurants, for sales at gas stations. All of these were up except for building materials. Those sales fell, as did furniture. But overall, I'd say heading into the end of last year, the consumer showed some resilience. And there you have it, how we spent our money, where we spent it, all the categories.
Retail sales for November, a powerful up 0.6 on the headline. That would equal July to find a stronger number. You're in June of last year when you're up 1%. Strip out autos, it still remains rather strong, up 0.5%, stronger than we were anticipating, much stronger than the revised up 0.2 in the rearview mirror. Strip out autos and gas, and it's still hot, up 0.4, better than expected, equals the slight downward revision to last month from 0.5% to up 0.4, and the core retail sales number up 0.4. That's all.
I love watching this guy. He gets so excited because you can tell he loves it because of what it means. And I cover this stuff so often because I just want to keep showing you. I don't know what the other guys out there show you in terms of on their shows, but I can't just talk about the same crap because it's crap. It's just stuff. I don't even like talking to many of the politicians anymore because they just come out and say the same stuff. I'm like, this is fantastic. That puck that I've talked about, skate to where the puck is going to be, it keeps moving, which causes us to have to keep pushing, keep doing what you got to do. Buy more, get ready, enjoy life. I feel it's like a broken record telling people, enjoy life. Especially if you're retired. All these numbers here, they may sound confusing, but that's the problem. A lot of people, including my parents, a lot of people didn't realize that retirement was work. Probably a lot of people going, what do you mean? Retirement is work. You can go golfing, you can go play tennis, you can go meet up with SV and play pickleball, he'll beat you. You can do all that. But you just can't say, here's my retirement, it sits in this 401k, and I just hope it does better. No, not in this day and age. In this day and age, you need to become a day trader or a week trader or a month trader. You need to be learning all this stuff. Maybe go into your home and take a spare bedroom and put up 4 or 5 screens and sit there and go, okay, what are we doing today? I don't need a retirement counselor. I'm going to be doing it. Actually, I'm kind of retired doing this. Most people wouldn't consider this a job, but it is. So I'm going to ask you in the chat, who's watching your money? How are you working on your money? If you are retired right now and you're sitting back and spending time with me, can you tell me without turning on the TV, what's the Dow right now? What's going on with your kids? Ben and George and Lincoln. Where are your kids right now? Because if you're retired and you're an empty nester, those are your kids. Let me look at what Andrew's doing. Let me look at what Benjamin's doing. You got to follow the Benjamins. Your job at this point is to watch, like when you drive and you look at the gas meter, it's like, oh, I need to put more in, or things are doing well, I got plenty of time. How are you checking how the kids are doing if you're not watching this kind of stuff?
So strong.
We're not.
That's what I try to do a little bit differently here, is to tell you there's no such thing as retirement. There's no, especially during a Trump administration, with the stuff he's doing, with the way silver and way gold and how you can be moving stuff in and out depending on who you're signed up with. Come on, people. Let's do this. Well, let them go ahead and stand in front of cars in the snow. Idiots. Complete idiots. Let them do that. That stuff is like raw meat for us to eat, but it doesn't do anything for you. Doesn't do a damn thing for you. Gonna segue into something before he comes on. I'm just looking at people just going crazy, throwing stuff, and I'm like, they're such idiots. They're the degenerates of our society. Complete dregs. And the reason why they're dregs is because they're standing in the snow trying to stop cars from moving. They're trying to stop things that have no bearing on their lives. Whether those Somalians get tossed out or not doesn't affect their life one bit. You're going to go on X and shave your head because the Somalians are being deported. How does that change your? It's not going to help you. It doesn't do anything for your freaking life. It doesn't do anything for your family's life. We are in a net negative migration. You can't stop what is coming. You might be able to slow it down a bit, but it's happening. They're leaving. Last night, they were flying planes out. Did you see that? I posted it. Get out of here. In case you missed it, let me show you that because I loved it. I loved it because those planes were getting out. Let me just show you in case you didn't see it. Let me go back because sometimes people, whether you follow me or not, just something I just wanted to show you. Hold on, let me go back to it. Here we go. Late last night, literal busloads of newcomers were just flown out of Minneapolis by DHS on chartered Boeing 737s being sent back to where they come from. Despite, there it is, bye, good freaking riddance. You guys are out there standing around in the snow and they're sending out 737s with them. Get out. Nothing they're doing is working. Maybe that's why they get so angry. I mean, look at this. You know, it was interesting to me that we always see them standing around, but how come there's no one where they're, how did they get all these trucks and vans full of newcomers to the airport and nobody saw them, huh? Get them out, move them out, move them out. Just keep going. That's what I want to see. That's what I tune in here for. Get them out of here. Stephen Miller. Great interview last night on Laura Ingraham.
Making any payments to sanctuary cities or states having sanctuary cities because they do everything possible to protect criminals at the expense of American citizens, and it breeds fraud and crime and all of the other problems. We intend to imprison any fraudster, politician, or public official involved in these sick plots to loot and pillage our country.
Stephen, I was out and about in those crowds, the mob, on Thursday and part of Friday. We were out and about in Minneapolis. Is the word insurgency accurate? That is what I've chosen to describe this as, not a protest, not from what I saw.
Absolutely it is, Laura. You can use the term insurgency. You can use the term insurrection. You can use the term domestic terrorism. Mayor Jacob Frey.
Did he say insurrection? I'm pretty sure he said insurrection. Yeah, insurrection, huh? Yeah, huh?
Governor Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison have deliberately, willfully, and purposefully incited this violent insurrection, this violent insurgency.
He just said it again. He just said insurrection a second time. And this is one of the guys closest to President Trump. You know, it's funny when they always talk about Pam Bondi must be on her outs and things. Nobody ever says anything. They said it about Susie Wiles. They don't say anything about Stephen Miller. Stephen, I bet you there's no daylight between President Trump and Stephen Miller.
Against immigration and customs enforcement, against Border Patrol. When you have mayors and state leaders saying that they're going to order the federal government, order federal law enforcement out of their city in order to maintain enclaves, of criminal illegal aliens and criminal refugees who are looting and pillaging the state and the American people, when you have them effectively banning the city police and the state police from rendering life-saving aid to ICE officers, from rendering necessary protection and support to the federal government when it is under siege and carrying out these operations, that is a direct assault and attack on the federal government. And let's understand.
Perfect. Exactly true. By them even being there, the mere fact that they put a hand on any federal agent, they are saying they are combatants. They are proving themselves right now that they are enemy combatants. Doesn't matter if they're not from here. They're here. This is what's going on. And Minneapolis and the Democrats are okay with it. They are fostering this attitude that you can go ahead and confront law enforcement. That tells me we're in a civil war, because they're not trying to quell this. They're not trying to make it better. They are doing everything they possibly can to cause a civil war. They want it. Why would they want it, Barry? They want it because they know in their hearts, inherently, despite what the black pillars are saying, they know they can't win. If you've just followed, many of you have seen my interview with Mark Mitchell, and one of the questions I asked him during that interview that caused all the problems is, how can you say the midterms are lost when you don't even know what's happening tomorrow? And I asked him that a couple months ago. If none of us knows what President Trump is going to come out and say right now, if none of us knows what he's going to do tomorrow with Greenland, if none of us knows what he's going to do with Nicolas Maduro, if you don't know what Nicolas Maduro has said, if we don't know what kind of evidence they've gotten out of Venezuela, I could literally keep saying things like that for probably an hour. If you don't know any of this, if you didn't know that the Supreme Court was going to say you could challenge mail-in ballots, if you didn't have that crystal ball, how in the hell can any person be saying the midterms are lost? Doesn't make any sense. And they're still doing it. Oh, it's over. It's completely over. There's no way the Republicans can win. There's no. How do you say that? The other side's not looking like they have it in the bag, are they? I know when I played ball, and if we got way ahead, we would just go ahead and put the scrubs in and take off our helmets, and some people would take off their shoulder pads, and we just sit in there and wait till the end of the game and wonder what time we're getting on a bus. Our job is done here. We're way ahead. We're 30 points ahead. These people look like they're 30 points ahead. When you actually look at them side by side, when you look at Ilhan Omar and AOC and Mandami and what the Clintons did, and you look at them, and then you look at the contrasting picture between J.D. Vance, President Trump, and the Trump administration, what picture do you see? You see this side who's freaking out versus this side who looks nothing but confident. So that should tell you something. I'm looking at Minnesota. I'm watching these people just go crazy. If I was really ahead, hey, I'm sorry that's happening. I'm sorry for you. Not sorry anymore. When people act a certain way, they give off what they really feel. And somebody telling me that they can forecast what's going to happen 11 months from now, I can't put any credence in those people.
Understand this. Why is ICE there? In addition to its obligation in every city, in every state, in every territory to uphold our nation's immigration laws, in addition to and beyond that, Minneapolis is a sanctuary city. It is a sanctuary state in Minnesota that has adopted a criminal policy of shielding and harboring illegal aliens and terrorists. And furthermore, we have uncovered a massive scandal run by Somali refugees to steal tens of billions of dollars from the federal treasury.
You know, one of the things about that, people don't ask this question either. Tell me how these guys got off of a plane from a desert dirt factory in Somalia and became Lex Luthor overnight. These aren't people who had access to all these different programs and softwares and governmental budgets. Tell me how they executed a Lex Luthor type of scam. I'll wait. Any you panicans, rhinos, black pillars, you want to tell me how that happened? You want to tell me how, Nimrod the Great came over from beating people in the head with with nails in it, taking care of his warlording in Somalia and being a pirate and trying to show up in America and learn how to scam the biggest country in the world. When I say biggest, I'm talking about, financially the most powerful. Tell me how that happened. Explain to me in detail, like I'm 6, how Nimrod the Great showed up over here with a couple of his other bad-toothed Somali buddies and said, man, here's what we do. We're going to steal billions from the Americans. And I could see the other guys with 58 IQ go, how are we going to do that? Well, here's what we do, man. We're going to open up fake daycare centers. What's a daycare center? That would have been I'm seeing it right now. If you've ever seen pictures of Somalia, they're walking around with tubs with poop. We're going to open daycare centers. What's a daycare center? Daycare center means I'm dropping my kids off to the lady in the hut down the street and telling her to take a look at them while we go out and beat up some of the bad guys. Daycare center? What's autism? Rimrod, what? We're going to open up autistic centers. Yeah. What is autism? Matter of fact, you're all of you. I don't think people dig deeper into this to actually, I'm making light of it. I could be more serious as a newscaster. And Nimrod the Great came to America and decided he was going to open up daycare centers and autistic centers and then open up transport companies for people who don't know how to drive, who've never heard of a daycare center and have no idea what autism is. Please explain to me how they did that in detail. That's the question. That's why Tim Walz needs to go to jail. That's why Jacob Fry needs to go to jail. That's why Ilhan Omar needs to go to jail. These people, it's not like you move from Detroit to Baltimore to Boca. You have some idea. Yeah, I've got a daycare center. I understand. I drive. These people, and I think that foundational perspective is something people aren't doing. Take it all the way back to the very beginning, and there's some guy sitting in a hut with nasty sandals and crusty feet, and you're telling me this guy showed up in Minneapolis, Minnesota, executed a lease, filled out government forms, got a gazillion dollars, took $10 million on an airplane, and doesn't even know what autism is. Nobody can be falling for that. Nobody.
This entire scheme, all of these domestic terrorists hurling themselves in front of ICE officers, trying to prevent these actions from taking place, engaging in these trained insurgent tactics to try to stop federal enforcement from taking place, is to protect a Somali criminal refugee population that is looting and pillaging the federal treasury.
Stephen, one thing that I'm concerned about is what I saw happen. I don't think we have the video, but up in St. Cloud, Minnesota, the agents were surrounded real fast because they report their whereabouts and then a mob descends upon them, and so they were ultimately driven out of the scene because it was too dangerous. It was overwhelmed. How do you guys deal with that, given this network that's involved in stopping ICE? And is it time to invoke the Insurrection Act, or would that stoke more unrest, anger, and deplete the trust that's already depleted somewhat in ICE?
Soft disclosure, blink, blink, blink. Is it time? How would you guys do it? It might piss some people off if you decide you're going to launch the Insurrection Act. What do you do? What do you do at this point if people get pissed off that you launch the Insurrection Act? Perfect answer coming up.
Well, we are never, the President of the United States is never going to make a decision about what to do or what not to do based on how it might upset the violent left-wing insurgents. His obligation, what he is supremely committed to, is enforcing and upholding the sovereignty of the United States. I'm familiar with the...
See, as I'm watching that, as he's saying he's here to uphold the sovereignty of the United States, does that look like the United States you know? No. None of you. Looks like something from 1968, but with different dredged people. You know, actually, when you think about what happened in 1968 and the riots back then, they don't look anything like this George Floyd stuff and this stuff here. There was an actual cause that people came together on. People didn't want to be in Vietnam. They didn't want to be in, have us in that war. They were peaceniks. It was a love child. They were smoking their hoochie and let's give peace a chance. I could actually understand, didn't get involved, but I could understand that. Hey, listen, we just want peace. That's all we want, peace. And then when Martin Luther King got shot and his civil rights, they were fighting for their own rights. And people felt compelled to do things because they felt that they were a second-class or third-class citizen. So you can almost think, yeah, I can understand that. And you could go all the way back to women's suffrage, and it's women here in America, citizens who felt they needed, they weren't being represented. They wanted the right to vote. Each one of those instances of uprising in our history is based upon Americans having an issue. Americans wanting to see some resolve. This is Somalians. These people are putting themselves in harm's way for people who came over here and stole $1 billion gazillion. It has nothing to do with the foundation of America. It has everything to do with the foundation of what the Democrats want. That's the problem at this point. There were black and white people who wanted to see women vote. There were black and white people who wanted to see people, the black people, and what happened with Martin Luther King and RFK Sr. It was American issues. This has nothing to do with Americans. When they say it's our people in our community, no, what you mean, it's the newcomers in the community. They're not your community. They've been transplanted here. They are agents of doom. They are here to do anything you need to do to keep yourselves in power and to get your kickbacks. Let's make sure we understand as they're trying to lean on, civil rights and everything else, but you're not from here. Crazy.
That you're referencing, where a mob of Somali refugees swarmed ICE officers, and the profound contempt this refugee population that has built this nation has for our country, our flag, our law enforcement officers. And what I would just say,
see, that's wrong. Let me tell you why it's wrong. They don't have a contempt, in my mind. They don't have a contempt for American and American law enforcement officers. That's not what's breeding this. The contempt is we don't want to leave. And the contempt is we got cushy here. We stole a whole lot of money. I mean, it's not like these people, came here to assimilate. My dad came from Jamaica. He ended up joining the Army. And he's one of the most patriotic people I've ever met. Tried to get me to go to West Point. Got my brother to go to West Point. There's a difference. These people don't want to assimilate. That's the big difference. They don't want to be Americans. They just want to steal from America.
To reassure your audience, to reassure you, is that under the new federal surge that has taken place and the additional assets that have been put in place under President Trump's direction, under Secretary Noem's leadership, we now have the resources we need, not only to protect the safety and security of our ICE officers and our border agents and their operations, but to begin the work of identifying, disrupting, and dismantling these insurgent networks. As you mentioned, they're very coordinated. They have ICE spotters and ICE watchers. They use chats to communicate with each other, to identify the location, and then they train their insurgents on how to block ICE vehicles, how to try to free arrestees, and then they dox ICE officers. They follow them home. They follow them to where they sleep at night. So again, it's a sophisticated insurgency involving a large number of radicalized, extremist, violent left-wing operators stoked by the Democrat Party. The resources and strategy is in place now, and you're going to see significant numbers. There's already been in recent days a huge increase in arrests of domestic insurgents, but those numbers are going to increase. And I just want to put this back to the American people. You said it, Laura. Americans voted in a landslide to uphold the sovereignty of this country.
I'm sorry. As he was talking, I saw that last guy get blasted. What must your mental capacity be to look at a guy who's got something that looks like it's some sort of pellet gun or, acid gun, and to reach for the gun and oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this chaos. There would be nobody to get the pepper spray if you weren't there. What are you doing? This isn't a, quote, peaceful protest. I've said that before. You want a peaceful protest, make a sign and walk up and down the street. Peaceful. Everything the Democrats say is a lie. These people aren't being peaceful protesters. You saw them jostling with the guy. I mean, they're lucky there's cameras. But unfortunately, that guy's picture was all over it like, oh, they just popped it in his face. Oh, you left the context out. You left the context out that he reached over and tried to grab the officer, and the officer has some of that. Luckily, it's not the fart ray we used in Maduro's house, because that would have been, I'm waiting for them to drop that. Let's roll out the fart ray.
Americans by overwhelming majorities oppose mass Somali fraud. Americans by overwhelming majorities just oppose Somali refugee resettlement in principle. So the public is behind this. Minnesota was once a pristine state, perfect education, no crime, no unrest, no violence, and then they ruined all of it, Laura, and President Trump is saving it.
President Trump said that on February 1st, the administration will stop making payments to these sanctuary cities. Obviously, court actions to be filed. They've gotten some success on district court front, but the nationwide injunction case at the court would prohibit that from being applicable nationwide. What's the plan?
Well, a lot of district court judges, unfortunately, are continuing to ignore the Supreme Court's instruction on nationwide injunctions. And Democrats have appointed a number of district court judges who are just genuinely diehard communists. A lot of them are also foreign-born communists. So you have foreign-born communists who are brought to this country, who don't believe in our constitutional order, who were appointed to lifetime seats on the bench. So it's a major problem. But none of that is going to deter or stop the President of the United States. And he's given very clear directions, and they'll be implemented by Russ Vought, the head of the Office of Management and Budget. Look, we are not going to, as a country, subsidize mass illegal immigration, mass criminal activity, and the mass theft of American taxpayer resources by individuals who have no right to be in this country at all in the first place.
Stephen, by the way, the only person less popular than yours truly at these insurgent rallies is you. Okay, so my favorite sign from last Thursday was Stephen Miller.
None of us are eager to get the support of domestic terrorists. What we want is the support of the patriotic American people who built and sustained this country. They stand with President Trump. They stand with ICE and Border Patrol. They stand with America and the American flag.
That's why I think a lot of stuff has to happen. I think it has to be televised because normal people, even though they're going about their lives, they see this stuff and go, this ain't gonna work. This is normal people. But unfortunately, when you're talking about Democrats, there's nothing normal about them. Nothing. I challenge them to have normal conversations. For instance, we actually have a case in front of the Supreme Court to determine, can boys play in girls' sports? I just want you to close your eyes and think about it. It is 2026, and did you ever in your life think we'd have to adjudicate whether boys can play in girls' sports? The insanity of just the fact that it has gone to that level because people can't determine whether you have a twig and berries or something else. And everybody should be able to be what the other person is. But it's funny how we can't appropriate other stuff. I'll save that because the feed just came up. It's funny how it happens. I'll just be sitting here and I'm looking at a blank screen, and then all of a sudden, blip, it'll come on. So let's listen to what President Trump has to say, and I'll come back to the insanity of having to determine in a court what a boy or girl is.
Very much. You see that beautiful milk? It's what we're here for. We're going to be discussing milk and whole milk and how good it is, and how nourishing. And these people all come from beautiful farms. They have a wonderful life, and they're happier today than they would have been if we didn't sign this. So we'll be talking about that in a second. Will, could you read the first two items, and we're going to get going after that? And we'll be talking about a couple of things. We have some news on Iran, which we're going to talk about.
So shortly before you all came in, the president signed two executive actions. The first is the result of a Section 232 trade investigation into critical minerals supplies. What it does is it sets up a mechanism, a process by which the United States will seek to secure its international supply chain of critical minerals and critical mineral-derived products. The second is actually the result of another Section 232 trade investigation, this one into semiconductors. It sets up a two-phase process. Under the first phase, semiconductors that are imported into the United States of America that are not then used domestically to build out our AI or computing architecture here will be subject to a 25% tariff. So, for example, semiconductors that were transshipped through the United States to other foreign countries would be subject to that 25% tariff. But those are two executive actions that the president reviewed shortly before you all came in.
So they're going to sell chips, basically, and it's a chip. It's not the highest level, but it's a very good level. And China wants them, and other people want them, and we're going to be making 25% on the sale of those chips, basically. So we're allowing them to do it, but the United States is getting 25% of the chips in terms of the dollar value, and I think it's a very good deal, great deal. They're taking billions of dollars, and they've done a fantastic job. But it's not the Blackwell or the Rubin; those are the two top. But it's a very good chip, and people want it, and we think it's in our best interest to do. And we have some other little things to talk about. Maybe we'll start that first. Should I start that first? I think they're going to want me to. I have a feeling they're going to want me to. We have been notified, and pretty strongly, but we'll find out what that all means. But we've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or an execution or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset, including you will be very upset, but that's just gotten to me, some information that the killing has stopped, that the executions have stopped. They're not going to have an execution, which a lot of people were talking about for the last couple of days. Today was going to be the day of execution. And another piece of information that I think is very important is the leaker has been found and is in jail right now. And that's the leaker on Venezuela. And a very bad leaker. So there could be some others, and we'll let you know about that. We're hot on their trail. But the leaker has been found, and the leaker's in jail. And will probably be in jail for a long time. Let's see what happens. So we'll let you know. We'll keep you apprised as to what's going to happen with that. And I want to thank all of the incredible people behind me
political people, both Republicans and Democrats, because they like whole milk. Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, whole milk is, right? That's a great thing. The senator was in the office many years ago. It feels like many years ago, but quite a while ago, right at the beginning of my first term.
Yeah, with Elijah Cummings.
Right, with Elijah, a very good person. Wonderful. You and I had a good relationship with him. At that time, I think you were a congressman, and you've made a lot of progress. You've done very well.
Some would disagree.
No, I don't disagree. I think you've done a great job. But it's great. It's great to have you here again.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So today, I'm delighted to sign the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act into law, which is a very important thing for our farmers, and I think maybe more important for our people, the people that drink milk. This is the first bill signing of the new year, and it will ensure that millions of school-aged children have access to high-quality milk as we make America healthy again. I want to thank Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins, who's behind me, Secretary of Health and Human Services Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Senators John Boozman and Mike Crapo, Roger Marshall, Peter Welch, as well as Representative G.T. Thompson and Tim Walberg, all great people. Also with us today is USDA National Nutrition Advisor Dr. Ben Carson, my friend for a long time. We went head-to-head, and it was not easy going head-to-head with Ben. He still looks good. That's because he drinks a lot of milk. And some of our nation's wonderful dairy farmers and their children. They're going to be farmers for a long time, we hope. As it currently stands, schools participating in the National School Lunch Program are only able to offer students low or non-fat milk options. That was changed during the Obama administration, and a lot of people disagreed with it at the time. With this legislation, schools will finally be able to expand their offerings to include nutritious whole milk. It's actually a legal definition, whole milk, and it's whole with a W for those of you that have a problem. Most of the media will get that. This is the perfect follow-up to the new Real Food Pyramid, and Secretary Kennedy and Secretary Rollins announced that last week. You probably heard. This legislation also allows parents to directly request a substitute for milk for children with dairy intolerance. Previously, parents were required to submit a written statement from a doctor, but we're eliminating that rather ridiculous policy, allowing parents to choose what is best for their child, which is a big move. Hard to believe that that would be a big thing, but it is. And of course, these changes will be major victories for the American dairy farmers, who we love and who voted for me in great numbers, I will say. I think I got every one of them. In December, I also signed the Secure Rural Schools Reauthorization Act, and I'm proud to say that these two pieces of legislation will give school-aged children across the country the resources and support that they need, not just to succeed, but really to thrive in life and later on in life. So I want to ask Secretary Rollins to say a few things, and then I'd like to ask Secretary Kennedy and Dr. Carson. I'd also like to hear from these great political leaders, senators, congressmen, if they'd like to say something. I'd be honored. So, Brooke, do you want to start?
Yes, sir. Thank you. And what a joy and an honor it is to be here. I feel like I have the best job in the world with representing all of these farmers. And Mr. President, not in our lifetime, has been a president who loves and supports our farmers more, and certainly the dairy farmers. I want to thank all of our farmers here today, sir. Most of them are 5th and 6th generation. They represent states from all across our country, and bringing the children to and seeing what the next generation of dairy farmers looks like. The amazing thing is some of these farmers back here from Butler, Pennsylvania, he milks.
Where?
Butler, Pennsylvania.
I love Butler. I do.
Yeah, and they love you. They love you. But he milks about 40 to 60 cows. And then we have Jamie from Wisconsin, who milks about 5,000 cows. So they represent all across the spectrum.
Wow.
And what this means. And I think it's important to note that in the last year, your support for these American farmers, for rural America. The One Big Beautiful Bill was the largest investment in rural America in history. I think that's important to note. The trade, and I see my friend Jameson Greer over there and Howard Lutnick on this end, we've opened up more than 24 different markets. Milk exports, dairy exports are up 23% just in the last year. And when you think about the ag deficit that happened under Joe Biden and the 4 years, we went from a surplus of agriculture products when we left the first time to a $50 billion deficit when we came back.
Yep.
So these are massive, massive wins for America, and I think it's important to note that. I also want to note, and you said it as well, that over a decade ago, Michelle Obama, in this very room, made an announcement on a short-sighted campaign to ditch the whole milk in schools, and that's what we're working to fix today. Last week, Bobby Kennedy and Ben Carson and Dr. Oz and the whole crew, sir, announced the Dietary Guidelines for Americans 2025 to 2030, which also reintroduced full-fat dairy into a healthy diet. And today, by signing this bill, Senator Marshall and Congressman Thompson and both all the wonderful men to the right who worked so hard on this, Peter Welsh, it is a bipartisan issue, and understanding where we are in this country and how important the health of certainly our children are is so important. USDA is posting today the guidance. So we're signing the bill, and USDA, we're moving at Trump time, is posting today the new rulemaking that is necessary to get whole milk back into school lunches. So that's a really, really big deal.
So how long will that take?
It should just take a few weeks, and then the milk starts moving in. So it's a big announcement, sir, for our schools and our children. And I know Secretary Kennedy will talk a little bit about the health issues, so I won't do that. I'll skip over that. You mentioned, and the last thing I'll say, I know we're here to sign the bill on whole milk, but Senator Crapo's work and our wonderful friend Doug LaMalfa, who we lost way too soon,
Right.
their work on securing Rural Schools Reauthorization Act, how important that too is for rural America. 700 eligible rural counties across the nation are now guaranteed funds for schools and roads and infrastructure. So, sir, you say it all the time. Those are your people. They voted for you and with us and saw your vision from the beginning. This is who we're here to support today, in addition to the whole milk for healthy schools, which will help all children. Just remember, eat real food and drink whole milk. What a joy again it is to be here, and I especially want to thank all of our incredible farmers for what you do. So, sir, with that, I'll turn it over to Secretary Kennedy.
And just before you do that, how are we doing with food prices, bringing them down?
Yes, sir. Well, I'm glad you asked, because I brought a chart, and that just happened to be right behind me. So, speaking of milk, milk is actually way down, and I know we're here to talk about that today.
It's
Obviously,
44%.
That's right, sir.
44% down. Milk, 44% down.
Eggs is way down. Milk is way down. This is just since we took office, sir. Fresh whole chicken down 2%, cheese down, tomatoes down, butter down. Of course, eggs are way down. Potatoes down almost 3%, fresh fruits down almost 3%. But this is just the beginning. And as we continue to bring the cost of farming down, bring the cost of inputs down, open up the markets, support our farmers, we'll see even more affordability moving forward.
And eggs are down 31%, so it's really something. Where's Bobby?
Bobby's right here. I'm going to sit with Bobby.
Right here, Mr. President.
Go ahead, wherever you are. Go ahead. Good to see you. We like Bobby.
And I want to echo what Brooke said about finally having a president that sees the alignment between farm prosperity, good food policy, and the health of our children. These are common sense associations. Democrats have been talking about them for eons. Republicans have been talking about them. We finally have a president that is implementing these policies and getting real food to our children. Today, President Trump signs the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act of 2025, a long overdue correction to the school nutrition policy that puts children's health first. For years, Washington treated fat, especially saturated fat, as the enemy. It made a war on saturated fat. This is the peacetime president. He's made it 8.5 deals ending wars, and he's also ended the war on saturated fat. As a result, whole and 2% milk disappeared from school menus, even though science has never shown that whole milk harms children. Evidence increasingly shows the opposite. The panoply of nutrients in whole milk is critical to brain development and physical development in our children. Whole and 2% milk provide 13 essential ingredients critical for growth, development, immune system function, and overall health, including protein, calcium, vitamin D, and healthy fats. Yet since these milk options were removed more than a decade ago, school milk consumption and meal participation have declined dramatically. Today, between 68% and 94% of school-age boys and girls fail to meet recommended dairy intake, according to federal guidelines. When schools limit milk choices, the kids do not move to healthier substitutes. They move to caffeinated drinks, to sugar drinks, and to sweetened beverages with little or no nutritional value and the potential to wreak havoc on metabolic health, which is driving the chronic disease epidemic in our country. During the same period that whole milk was regulated out of lunchroom, rates of childhood obesity and diabetes rose significantly. Removing whole milk did not improve health, it damaged it. Thanks to President Trump's leadership, this law fixes that mistake. It allows schools in the National School Lunch Program to offer whole, reduced fat, low fat, or fat-free, flavored or unflavored, organic or conventional. It restores choice to schools, parents, and students and encourages consumption of nutrient-dense foods that kids will actually drink. The law also removes unnecessary bureaucracy by allowing parents or legal guardians to request milk substitutes without the necessity of involving a doctor. And it corrects a flawed technical rule by excluding fluid milk from saturated fat calculations that distorted school menus. Milk fat is not junk food. Treating it that way undermined nutrition and ignored the science. Last week, Secretary Rollins and I unveiled President Trump's new food pyramid and updated our dietary guidelines with a clear message: eat real food. This law puts that principle into action. As Secretary of Health and Human Services, I support this reform because it aligns federal policy with evidence-based nutrition, not ideology or dogma. Healthy kids need real food. They need real protein. They need healthy fats, and they need policies grounded in reality and the science. I want to thank President Trump again for his vision, for signing this bill, for continuing to put children's health first. This is exactly the kind of practical change that will make America healthy again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby. We have some milk here. It's been sitting here for 5 days, so it's from the original bottle, and I brought it so the press can have some. You can swig it all out of it. Remember the old days when we were kids, everybody shared a bottle? Today we tend not to do that, but if you'd like to, if you trust the person that you're drinking after, it's right here, it's yours, okay? It's semi-fresh, 5-6 days old. Thank you. So Ben Carson, special man, knows a lot about health. He looks better than ever, so Ben, how about it?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for being interested in the health of the people. It's made a big difference in facilitating an atmosphere where the agencies can work together. Secretary Rollins, Secretary Kennedy, Marty McCary, Dr. Oz, the whole group, every week at least meeting once to talk about these things, and it's made a big difference. And I want to thank the dairy farmers. I know you guys have been in the doghouse for a little while. You're out of the doghouse as of today.
Yes, sir.
And, whole milk is a wonderful beverage. Good protein. We talk about real food. It is real food. Healthy fats, important nutrients. You look at vitamin D, you look at calcium, phosphorus, the things that are absolutely essential for bone development and for teeth. But as a neurosurgeon, the thing I really like is what the brain, what it does for the brain.
Right.
The brain starts to develop right after conception and adds millions of neurons every single day. Continues to do that right up until the mid to late 20s. Now, it's important what that brain is getting during the development. Is it getting soda or is it getting milk?
So milk would help your cognitive ability.
Absolutely. You can tell who's been
Take
drinking
a
milk.
cognitive test. I've taken a lot of them. I've aced every one of them because I drink milk.
It's good for it, and it shows.
Do you consider there to be a big difference in taste between what you are having and this is just, it just looks so good sitting there, right?
Yes, sir.
It looks better. They stick. Go ahead, Ben, sorry to interrupt you.
You know, when you go to school and you give the kids milk, real milk, they love it. When you pour the stuff that looks like, dish pan water, they don't particularly want that. It doesn't taste good either. So this is a great day. It's only a part of what's happening with our emphasis on health. Our longevity has been going down. In other industrialized nations, it's been going up. And it's because we haven't been paying attention to this. That has changed, and we want to thank you for your leadership.
Well, thank you very much, Ben. Appreciate it. Appreciate all you've done, too, for the country. I'd like to ask a few of our senators to say a couple of words. Maybe we should start with the Democrat in our midst. What do you think?
Peter Welch.
How about Peter Welch? And thank you very much for being here, Peter.
No, thank you. Our dairy farmers are so vitally important, and they have a way of life that transmits from one generation to another, and it's tougher than ever for our dairy farmers in Vermont, our dairy farmers in Pennsylvania and others, South Carolina are here, but they're the lifeblood of the community. Nobody works harder, and nobody does things that are better for our nutrition. And also for our kids, I'm in agreement. The kids having access to healthy milk is good milk, whole milk, is really good for them. And one of the things that I get very excited about, the Vermont farmers talked about, is they have their milk from their farm that then goes directly to many of our schools. And then kids come out to the farms and start seeing how milk is made, what farming is about. That's good for America. It's not a party deal. This has been a bipartisan effort. I appreciate working with my colleague, Senator Marshall, who did a great job, and JT when I was in the House. And Tim, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Peter. It's got to be like a 90-10 issue, another one of those 90-10. It's good to have you on our side. But it's a great issue, and it's a great thing to do, and we're very proud of it. We're very proud of our farmers. Senator, do you want to say a few words?
Sure, I'll be very brief. We all want to see you sign this bill. But I really appreciate you and Brooke bringing up the Secure Rural Schools legislation. This is critical legislation to our rural communities across this country, and we have to fight every couple of years to get it extended just a couple of years. And this extension we got this year went back to pick up a few years that we missed and is going to expire again at the end of the next year. And Mr. President and Secretary, I'm going to encourage us to get back in here to sign a Secure Rural Schools bill that is permanent. I want to set a goal, or hope that you'll set a goal with me to get that done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ray. Anybody? Please,
Mr. President. Yeah, Mr. President, thank you so much for having us here. On behalf of Kansas dairy farmers, thank you. Milk is the most wholesome, nutritious drink known to humankind. Not only is it full of essential nutrients, it's full of healthy fats as well as protein. As Dr. Carson pointed out, those healthy fats are what helps that brain develop and help you absorb the fat-soluble vitamins. The protein is why you drink milk and you're not hungry again in 30 minutes. And I have to point out that under the previous couple administrations ago, thanks to them, we have a whole generation of young adults who have osteopenia and osteoporosis because they never drank milk for an entire generation. So getting milk back in the schools is going to give us healthy bones and healthy minds. It sticks to your ribs, and it tastes great. Thanks for your leadership. Yes, sir, Mr. President. Thank you.
Anybody? Politically first, and then we're going to go to the farmers.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Mr. President, thank you so much. I want to ask Dr. Carson if there's an age limit on the cognitive ability. You're drinking a whole lot more of this.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We literally have legislators here that have worked on this for years. This is something that's been very, very difficult. You're able to help us
You
get
would
it
think
over
it would
the...
have been very easy, actually.
Exactly, but you were able to help us get it over the finish line. You and your great team, Brooke, all of these people have done such a good job, not only with this issue, but all that we're doing for the farm community, which is so, so very important. So thank you very, very much. And I know that you're going to continue to support farmers like you have.
We do, right from the
Since you were
beginning.
elected. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Go ahead.
Well, Mr. President, G.T. Thompson,
Yep.
Chairman of the House and Agriculture Committee. I have been working on this bill for 15 years, and thank you.
That's amazing.
Because of your support and your leadership, we were able to get this across the line.
It's such a shame that it would be so hard.
Common sense was lost, and in the benefits today go to those precious children that we see over there. It goes to our dairy farm families who work so hard 7 days a week. There's no day off for a dairy farmer. And quite frankly, our rural communities who, when the misguided move to take whole milk and 2% milk and flavor out of the schools, we lost a generation, probably 2 generations of milk drinkers, and it devastated those rural communities because you lose the dairy farms, then you lose all the supplies, businesses, and then you lose grocery stores and you lose community pharmacies. Well, that day ends today with your signature, and we reverse that trend and we build a robust rural economy. And I'll just close with what will be the theme of my next bumper sticker, whole milk heals.
Amen. That's right. That's what they say. I think it's probably true. Anybody else?
Well, Mr. President, as Chairman of the Education and Workforce Committee, this fits, with the kids, with what they can enjoy in school and grow from. Also to have G.T. Thompson sponsor the bill on that committee, and I think I've worked with you for 15 years, but we finally got it done in committee. This makes an impact for education, for our workforce, the health that's there, and the reality of what this farming industry does. I live in the most diverse farm district in Michigan. Thanks for coming to Michigan yesterday.
Yeah, it was great.
And my kids were raised on, it's legal now, raw milk, taken right out of the bulk tank. And my oldest son became a Pulitzer-nominated journalist for the Chicago Tribune, and I think the milk did it, right? Then I have the benefit of Dr. Carson being a graduate of Andrews University in my district. So all of that goes together. Thank you for signing this. It'll make a difference.
Great job. So how about a couple of the farmers? Would anybody like to speak? Would you like to? Do you want to just say how great milk is?
It's so amazing.
So amazing. I love it. That's good.
Yes, Mr. President, we want to say thank you for doing this. It's been stated several times how long this took, and so thank you for your support and leadership in finally making this happen. As a mom and a dairy farmer, this isn't just a big win for the dairy farm families across the country, but as it's been said, the millions of school-age kids that depend on school lunches for their nutrition and to fuel their bodies. So thank you.
So they've been fighting this for years then, huh?
15 years.
Well, have you
Before
been
these
fighting
kids.
it? You're too young to be fighting it. Have you been fighting it for that long?
For a while, we've been fighting it. I mean, I think I speak for everybody. It's been a long time coming, so your leadership is it.
Well, it's great. I had no idea you would. Just seems to make sense, right? It's hard to believe. When you said 15 years, I said, you have to be kidding. It's government is tough. Government can be very tough. How about you? Would you like to say something?
So we are very grateful and thankful that you passed this bill because it is common sense as to what we should be consuming.
Right.
Whole foods and whole milk. Unfortunately, that has not been the case for a few years. But research shows and our MAHA movements have been taking the right steps to make America healthy. And our children are growing into active teenagers and athletes. And what do they need? They need strong bones. They need the energy. They need the healthy muscles. And so we are so grateful that the science is there and we are actually at the right point and the right step making sure America is healthy. So we are very thankful.
It's so great. I look forward to getting it all the time. I open a refrigerator, say milk with rice and milk with water and milk with everything, and I say, what kind of milk is it? That's what I like right there. That's great. Thank you very much, Peter. Please, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Patrice Anluca. I am the Center Director at the Independent Women's Forum. I work on economic policies,
Right.
but I'm also a mom of boys, as you can see. This is Jesse. Jesse, you want to say your name and age?
My name is Jesse. I am 6 years old. I am 7 years old. I want to be an engineer when I grow up. I am a first grader. I also know where does milk come from.
Good job.
Where does it come from?
So first farmers milk it, and then next they put it into a coal tank, and then to take the germs out, they put it very hot, and then they put it back in the cold tank, and then they hauled it to somewhere that is cold in a big refrigerator.
What, that is unbelievable. I'm going to give him a medal. Yeah. Everybody, these guys want it. Let me tell you, politicians want it. I'm going to give that to you. Is that okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That's
and
beautiful.
this is Daniel,
Wow.
his younger brother. Daniel, how old are you?
5.
And what grade are you in?
Kindergarten.
Kindergarten. And these boys are involved in sports. They go to a public school in the Maryland area, and
great.
many of their friends, are drinking, the kind of options that they don't really like. And so it's good that as they get to drink a glass of milk every morning, their friends will be able to drink that at school as well.
I think
So
it's
thank you
great.
very much for
Beautiful
what you're
boys.
doing for
Beautiful
public
people.
school kids in particular.
Beautiful people. Thank you very much. Doing a great job, too.
Thank you.
Please.
I'm Amber Schwartz. I'm also with Independent Women, but I'm here with my son, Luke, who is 13 years old. We're in Alexandria, Virginia. Luke needs a lot of protein right now to grow. In fact, his doctor just told us between 60 and 70 grams a week. And I can't feed him a whole chick, so supplementing with milk is really helping us. Unfortunately, at school, they've offered skim milk and chocolate, and he does not like either. And so he has been turning to the juice boxes and other drinks that have sugar. And so thank you for giving him the opportunity, and parents too, to make a choice.
That's great. That's really great. How about you?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm
Nice,
the one.
beautiful red hair. Look at that.
I tried to match here, so.
Yes.
But I'm the aforementioned one from Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
So you know that place very well. I do. And we still love you. So.
Thank you.
But Mr.
Thank you.
President, I was thinking last night when I was milking what I was going to say, and I thought, well, this is such a monumental day in agriculture, not just dairy farmers, but for all of agriculture, because this helps me as a producer, helps the processors. It also helps these kids here. So it's good all around, and this is perfect legislation, a great day for America is what this is.
Thank you very much. Beautifully said, and we appreciate it. And it is a great place that you come from. I love it. Please.
Mr. President, thank you. It's an honor to be here, and I think this is about choices. This day's been a long time coming. We've been waiting on this for many years, and it's great that we're able to provide choices now in schools with whole milk. Well, thank you for that, and thank you for everything that you do for the dairy industry. That us dairy farmers produce valuable nutrients every day for consumers.
So you're going to need to produce more milk because you're not mixing it up with all sorts of things, right?
That's right.
That's great. That's a big. How much of an increase will that be? Do you have any idea?
Pretty good.
A lot more.
A lot more. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's great, boy. That's so good for the industry.
Absolutely.
Hard to believe you had to wait so long.
Yep.
Would you like to say
Mr. President, I'd like to thank you again for your support behind this, and the gentleman standing behind you. Like you said, we worked 15 years on it. I advocate for our industry a lot out in the community, and I know I've been into high schools, I've been in middle schools where the students want milk. I did a taste test one time at a high school where we gave them whole milk versus the skim milk their school was giving them. The kids loved the whole milk. So just your all support behind us, your support getting it pushed through, I really appreciate what you've done and what the gentleman behind you were able to do.
We support the farmer.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The farmer knows what's right, better than anybody else. Bobby would tell you that. I mean, the farmer, they know what's right.
Yes, sir.
Especially when it comes to things like this. Sorry it took so long. It was 15 years. I can't believe it. Howard, would you like to say something?
What's amazing is that the president has the leadership and common sense to drive the right outcomes. Why should kids not be given the choice to drink whole milk? How is that even possible? So it's amazing to work for you because you just own common sense and you're driving it through our economy, you're driving it through the farmers. You've got great leadership in Secretary Rollins and Secretary Kennedy, and it's great fun to be here because, I mean, think of today. I mean, how much fun is this? It's just common sense. Come on.
Like the Oval Office.
Yes, sir. Beautiful.
Even the media, they come here and they're here a lot, but it's sort of like you're in the Oval Office. It's the whole ballgame. It all begins and ends and then re-begins here. There is no place like it, right?
Yes,
Isn't
sir.
that exciting?
Absolutely.
There's no place like, if you love the country especially, there's no place like it. So thank you. Thank you, Howard, very much. So let's sign it. Should I sign it?
Yes, sir.
Your last chance. We could go another 15 years. Let's do it. Do it?
You go stand right there. By
Come
the
on, right
president.
up here. We have to do a good one here. This is right?
Yes, sir.
This is an important one for me. Okay, not bad. Not bad. Too bad. It's signed by auto pen. So you can never make a mistake. They made a lot of mistakes. Anyway, here it is. Thank you. Thank you all very much. You have it?
Thank you.
Gonna
Thank
drink
you
a lot?
all. Thank you.
I'm gonna start drinking a lot of milk.
We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much. That's great. Here, hold that on for a little while. You'll give it to us later, okay? It was a good job you did.
That's great.
So any questions on what we just signed, please?
Mr. President,
Yeah, let's talk about this first.
I've got one on the milk. Coming from a family, my dad was a dairy engineer from Texas Tech University.
Big, strong guy.
There he is. Drink lots of whole milk in my day. Would you look at this as being a shift from what the industry kind of went woke with the oat milk and the almond milk?
It's amazing.
It's going exactly the opposite direction. Let's talk about the impact of dairy farmers on this whole bill.
There are a lot of changes being made in the last year, as you know. We're still a little bit less than a year. I think there's probably never been a year like this for a president or for a country. We have tremendous success. We've had success with everything we've done. And the economy now is coming back, and here's an example of, and it's great to see it. And if you'd like a zip of that, I'd give it to you. It's actually been here, it's only been here for a few minutes before we started. It's not 5 days. 5 days and open, right? No, it's not, but it's an honor. What we've done in the country in the last year, it's incredible. All of us together. It's incredible. So I appreciate the question.
Mr. President, Ron, you said that the killing has stopped. Who told you that the killings have stopped?
We have been informed by very important sources on the other side, and they've said the killing has stopped and the executions won't take place. There was supposed to be a lot of executions today, and that the executions won't take place. And we're going to find out. I mean, I'll find out after this. You'll find out. But we've been told on good authority, and I hope it's true. Who knows, right? Who knows?
We've
Crazy
seen the body
world.
bags, so how do you trust
No,
them?
you've seen that over the last few days, and they said people were shooting at them with guns, and they were shooting back, and it's one of those things. But they told me that there'll be no executions, and so I hope that's true.
Does this mean military action is now off the table against Iran?
No, we're going to watch it and see what the process is, but we were given a very good statement by people that are aware of what's going on.
Considering military action,
I mean, when they say no executions, everyone is talking about a lot of executions were taking place today. We were just told no executions. I hope that's true. That's a big thing. Yes, ma'am.
The Foreign Minister of Greenland, she said a while ago in a press conference in an embassy of Denmark that she made very clear in the meeting that happened here in the White House what are their limits. She also said that it was a very respectful meeting. Are those limits going to be respected?
Well, we're going to see what happens with Greenland. We need Greenland for national security, so we're going to see what happens. They're going to brief me on the meeting right after this conference. In fact, the sooner I get you out, the faster I'm going to know exactly what happened. But we have a very good relationship with Denmark, as you know. We'll see. But, we're doing the Golden Dome. We're doing a lot of things, and we really need it. If we don't go in, Russia's going to go in, and China's going to go in. And there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it, but we can do everything about it.
More in what they can do there?
Well, we're going to see. I mean, look, we're going to see what happens, but we need it. I'm not the first one. This was talked about by President Truman, and 40 years before President Truman, they were talking about it. They've been talking about this for 100 years. This is not anything so new. A lot of people don't realize that, but this was a hot subject. Probably not as hot as it is now, but it was a hot subject for a long time. We need it for national security, and that includes for Europe. And I spoke with, as you know, Mark, the head of NATO, and he really wants to see something happen. It's very important for national security.
It's being reported that Health and Human Services released frozen funds to Planned Parenthood. I'm wondering why this happened and why Planned Parenthood is receiving any federal funds.
I don't know anything about that. Bobby, do you know anything about that?
What was the question?
It's being reported that frozen funds were released to Planned Parenthood in December by HHS. I'm wondering why that happened.
I haven't heard
I have not heard that.
I have not heard that.
Mr. President, on NATO, right now, it sounds like you are saying that you would potentially acquire Greenland by force. That would be a NATO country. The United. Are you saying that? Would you do that?
No, you're saying that.
Would you
I
acquire
didn't
that by
say it.
force
No,
right
you're
now?
telling me that that's what I'm going to do. You don't know what I'm going to do.
So what are the options?
Your
then?
network
Because
doesn't know either.
The Danish foreign minister said that there's still fundamental differences after the meeting with Rubio and with the vice president. Are you willing to leave the NATO alliance in order to get what you want with Greenland? What are the options right
Well,
now?
I wouldn't be telling you what I'm willing to do, certainly. I'm not going to give up options, but it's very important. Greenland's very important for the national security, including of Denmark. And the problem is not a thing that Denmark can do about it if Russia or China wants to occupy Greenland. But there's everything we can do. You found that out last week with Venezuela. There's everything we can do about things such as that. Not going to happen. We're not, I can't rely on Denmark being able to fend themselves off. They were talking about they put an extra dog, and they were serious about this. They put an extra dog sled there last month. They added a second dog sled. That's not going to do the trick.
Denmark fought alongside the United States in both Afghanistan
Thank you
and
for telling me
Iraq.
that. I appreciate it.
But
I have a very good relationship
they're
with
an
Denmark,
ally
and we'll see how it all works out. I think something will work out. Yeah, please.
On Venezuela, Cabello, the de facto number 2 in Venezuela right now, he seemed pretty reluctant to work with the U.S. And obviously he's
They just gave us 50 million
Cabello,
barrels of oil.
the number 2, the Venezuela security
I don't
chief.
know. I know the number 1. We just had a great conversation today, and she's a terrific person. I mean, she's somebody that we've worked with very well. Marco Rubio is dealing with her. I dealt with her this morning. We had a call, a long call. We discussed a lot of things, and I think we're getting along very well with Venezuela. Yeah.
Mr. President, a new Assistant Attorney General position dedicated to rooting out fraud.
Yeah, he's fantastic. The person is fantastic.
Who is it?
It's a he.
When are you
I will
gonna
tell you maybe within minutes. I mean, I don't know if it's appropriate to say yet because we're going through a process, but we have chosen a person who's very tough, very smart, very fair.
You gave a speech yesterday in Michigan about how you've recalibrated the American economy to work for workers, U.S. auto factories. We've seen core inflation's completely tamed. You lowered the trade deficit to the lowest amount since 2009. American exports are growing, but we're also waiting on the Supreme Court case with the tariffs. Given the success that you've had in the first 12 months, what is at stake in this case,
It's
sir?
a little bit like whole milk. I can't believe we even have a case. This was a case started by very China-centric people and also anti-American people, frankly, people that don't want us to do well. Tariffs have helped us stop 8 wars. They've helped us get the best trade numbers we've ever had. They've helped us get $18 trillion brought into the country. And maybe above all else, they've given us tremendous national security, just the threat of tariffs. You saw that just yesterday when I put tariffs on a certain country. We won't talk about that country, but you know who it is, based on the fact that if you do business with that country, it's going to make them, it's going to bring them to the table a lot faster. So we have made hundreds of billions of dollars with tariffs. We have very little inflation. Think of it. Inflation's gone down and productivity, everything has gone up. We've never taken in money like we have. We've never had anywhere near $18 trillion invested in our country. Neither has any other country. It's the biggest number by maybe 5 times. 5 times, not 5%, 5 times. Nobody's ever seen numbers like this. We have plants going up. You mentioned I was in Michigan yesterday. I was at the Ford plant where they make the Ford 150. It's one of the original plants. It was from before World War I. It's a giant plant. That plant was probably going to be closed. And 2 years ago, they were doing very poorly. And now they just announced yesterday that they're going to go 24 hours around the clock. 3 shifts, which they rarely do. That's Ford, and Ford's having the best numbers they've ever had. General Motors having the best numbers they've ever had. Stellantis, which hasn't been here, is now investing billions, tens of billions of dollars on building in the country. We're building auto plants all over the country. We're building AI all over the country. We're leading China by a lot, and a lot of it has to do with tariffs. That would be a very disappointing decision. And especially since the people that are fighting me are people that want China to do well. And we're doing great against China. We're doing great against everybody. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world. As I say often, we're right now the hottest country anywhere in the world. And a year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Thank you very much, everybody.
Let's go. Thank you. Thank you, press. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Thank you.
Well, they sound like they're in a Learing Center in Minnesota. Hey, get out, get out. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right. So the nuggets that everyone's talking about, and everyone's ignoring the milk, even though it's a big story. But one, supposedly, and we shall see whether or not the assassinations and things like that are done in Iran. That's big. Number 2 here on my notes here, looks like Denmark may be doing something with Greenland. We don't know. We're supposed to hear. Number 3, they do have a pick to be basically the czar of going after the fraud and stuff in Minnesota. He said minutes, so maybe by the time I do tonight's show, they will go ahead and do that. And then the other big thing that they talked about was the leaker and who this leaker could possibly be. I didn't even know what was leaked. So I of course, went to Grok and said, what's up about this leaker? And this is what it says. The leaker President Trump referred to on January 4th today during his press remarks they're naming him Aurelio Perez Ligones, a U.S. citizen and systems administrator with top secret security clearance working for a Pentagon government contractor in the Maryland area near Fort Meade, Annapolis. He allegedly leaked classified information related to the U.S. operations in Venezuela, specifically intelligence reports and materials tied to the raid that captured Maduro and his wife. What was leaked? Classified national defense information, including documents on foreign operations, referred to in court filings as involving Country 1, widely understood to be Venezuela. This included accessing classified databases, taking handwritten notes, screenshots, and physically removing materials found in his lunchbox, basement home, and vehicle during an FBI search. To whom did he leak it to? The materials reached at least one Washington Post reporter. You saw they went after her today. Her name is Hannah Nathanson, whose home was raided by FBI as a part of the investigation. Pam Bondi described it as the reporter obtaining and publishing illegally leaked classified information from the contractor. The consequences. I love how Grok broke this out. Perez Ligones was arrested in early January, charged with unlawful retention, transmission of national defense information. He appeared in U.S. District Court in Baltimore and was ordered held in federal custody. Trump stated the leaker is in jail right now and faces a long sentence with more investigations ongoing. You got to be quite the idiot to do something like that. In addition, Pam Bondi was talking about the reporter from the Washington Post, who is stupid in terms of doing it. I'm sure she'll try and fall on her First Amendment rights, but that's not going to happen. Let me see if I can find what she said. Here's was Pam Bondi's statement about the woman. This past week, the request of the Department of War, the Department of Justice, and FBI executed a search warrant at the home of a Washington Post journalist that we now know her name was Hannah Nathanson. who is obtaining and reporting classified and illegally leaked information from a Pentagon contractor. The leaker is currently behind bars. I am proud to work alongside Secretary Hegseth on this effort. The Trump administration will not tolerate illegal leaks of classified information that, when reported, pose a grave risk to our nation's security and the brave men and women who are serving our country. That goes all the way back to the very beginning. This dovetails off of what I said earlier. We are in a civil war. It's not the kind of civil war that most people remember or what they would expect, but it's obvious. We've got spies, we've got people doing all kinds of things, and we got reporters that can't wait to tell the world what we're doing. Let me see if Kash Patel, I believe Kash Patel, yes, he did. Kash Patel also posted something. The government contractor alleged to have illegally retained and leaked classified sensitive military op information to a reporter has been arrested. Investigation ongoing. Compromising the safety of our warfighters and American national security will be met with the full weight of justice. And this was at about 2:45 this afternoon. So more than likely, there's more coming about this entire story. It seems as though they've also, as you can see in this post that he made, Washington Post reporter's home was raided by the FBI. Search warrant executed on Hannah Nathanson's home and her devices. That was at 9:35 this morning. So there's a whole bunch going on with the subterfuge that the Democrats are doing. And they're going to have to answer to a lot of this stuff. They're putting people in danger. We are most assuredly in a civil war of sorts. What kind of civil war? Well, haven't seen anybody actually firing cannons as of yet, but we are definitely in a civil war. I got a whole bunch more, but I'm gonna cut now so I can go take care of the dogs and get back on tomorrow afternoon. There's so much news. Still have so much. I still have a bunch of stuff in the can, so we'd be here for 4.5 hours. It's just too much. But we will be back at 7 or 7:30 tonight. It's 4 o'clock now. Why don't we just say 7:30? I'll be on with the evening show. And I'm going to be trying to do it in a rapid pace because there's so much stuff that's happening. I just wanted to say one thing. Our mods do a Herculean effort to make sure that this community that we've come to know and like, and I appreciate every single one of you, stays drama-free, BS-free, and troll-free. And a gentleman said some stuff today, and then he emailed me while President Trump was talking, and he's complaining because he got booted. I often see the mods posting over and over, be nice, don't just say stupid stuff. If you do, you're probably going to get either muted or completely booted. They don't do that because they're looking to suppress people, but one of the things people come here and watch our videos is because other people who try to troll or say nasty things, there's a lot of Christians in here as well. So in any event, listen to the rules of the forum. SV, Roaring Rage, Severo, Beth, they're not here to be meanies. They're not here to be hall monitors. They're here to protect the community. And in the email I got from the guy, and what he said was, well, so much for free speech. Let me be the first person to tell you, in case you're wondering, you don't have free speech. You see, free speech is a misnomer. You can't walk into a theater and yell fire. You can't walk into a police department and say crazy things. You can't do certain things because where that you're saying it is private. This is a community that we built. You want to say something, well, guess what? The people listening have the right to tune you out. So if you say it, okay, you said it, but you won't be saying it again. And I value every single one of our mods as much as I value every single one of you guys that watches our videos. And I truly mean that. last thing before we go, what did I want to show you guys? It's 3:53, and just to let you know, silver has flirted with $94. It was at 94.01. It's back down to 92.78, 92.80. I can't explain it, but Monday Kevin Demerit will be here, and hopefully he can give us some insight as to what the hell is going on. It's absolutely crazy. And no, President Trump isn't just making billionaires a lot of money. He's making a lot of people a lot of money. All right, so let me do some super chats so then we can run out of here and you guys can come back at 7:30. Suzanne, thank you very much. Pekovsky, thank you. On time. It's this Colleen. Thanks, Barry, for the best podcast channel around. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Pekovsky, we need a big ass kicker. I think that's what Trump is. Giving up middle fingers and stuff. Pekovsky, again, there's a lovely village in Siberia waiting for the Clintons. Now, see, this is where Pam Bondi better do something. They've got to go through and let, Comer do what he needs to do and get the actual contempt. But then she's got to do that. Beth Rodriguez, thank you. Pekovsky, again, so far heads above the water. What's this? Revive, thank you. And Stephen Anderson, follow the Asian guy purchased pounds, still buying. The Asian guy, a lot of people are pissed off at because it's obviously AI. But oftentimes what people need to understand, a lot of people don't want to put their face out there. They don't want to be on camera. You don't know if the guy works for the Federal Reserve, works for a silver mine. And so he's put out but his content, the Asian guy, seems to be pretty good. So I don't discount. I saw the nicest video the other day. It was a dog video, which was obviously AI, but it was funny. And of course, you've seen the Trump videos, which are AI with him dancing and stuff, or the fat JD Vance videos. But sometimes AI can be funny. Just need to discern. Making Blankenship. YouTube has ads for $5 silver dated 1985. Be careful. See, this is where now you have to be really careful what you do. People are gonna come out of the water because they have an opportunity to make a quick buck. They will scam you. You better go with people, or call Lear Capital. Go to learberry.com because they are it's too big of an opportunity for scammers. Pekovsky, I'm sure we are on the good side. I am too. Kelly, just a reminder, drip, drip, flood. Exactly. Jose, maybe this would be the reason they ask United States citizens get chip if they want to get their benefits or get paid. All this is wild. I ain't never getting a chip, but I understand what you're saying. Ernest, a thought comes to mind. Cuba, Venezuela, Colombia, Honduras, Zelensky, Iran, Greenland, Clintons, et al. Today, I finished All Family Business. Yeah, it does sound like the Godfather movie. It does, for sure. I'm waiting to see. I'm looking on screen up here. I can't believe they cut away during the middle of the. Once Trump started, after he signed, they went away. I'm like, wow. Talk about Fox. Grizz Willow, how do I get a statement from Lear Capital for my RA I have with Lear? I would contact Lear. I would contact them, and if you want, come on Monday if you want to hear Kevin answer that. Sure. Barry, cell service is down in Winchester, Virginia. Hi, Leader. Yes, they did say that on the news. They said Verizon. So if you're a Verizon customer, Verizon's been down in a big part of the country. My Mancino, thank you, and Supermod's excellent truth journalism. Thank you very much. Making Blankenship, Trump's first term was to close the U.S. and draw our troops home. Pekovsky, there is no time, destination Iceland. Iceland? Where the heck is Iceland? I'm horrible in geography. Elam, need to start sending people who want to give up their American citizenship as well. Too many Americans that hate America, and I'm tired of it. I agree with you. Chiosap. I used to watch World's Most Deadliest Roads when they did Somalia. It was like a primitive land, not an ounce of asphalt anywhere in the country. So there's no way these guys showed up here and became criminal masterminds. No, there's a lot of people behind this. That's who we need to find out. Buddy Sanders, I hope that President Trump hasn't given up on freedom for Iranians. Nope, not at all. He even said it today. Cutting edge, thank you. Something is happening in Israel. All the parts of the third temple are ready, and plus the Council of Peace of Gaza will gonna have 10 people, 10 kings without a kingdom. And please check the laws Congress went about S Media. I'm not sure, but I did see SV sent me something which I'll cover tonight. Bunch of jets and in midair fuelers are scrambling over by Iran. Stephen purchased 2020 West Point American Eagle DJT signature today. One of the questions somebody asked me was the American Eagle more valuable than normal coins? And that's one of the questions I'll ask Kevin on Monday. Reticent Robin. Thanks, Barry. I appreciate you bringing the news to me. And more importantly, you're taking commentary of said news. Thank you. Brad Crane. Go Hoosiers. They got to come down here. All roads are gonna go through Miami, so we shall see how that works out. Chiosop, there is no one in the universe that we can think of who would be able to take on a deep state the way President Trump is. Plays him like a fiddle. And at the same time, why are so many people on the right against what he's doing? Where'd I go about that? There's no one. Okay. Ann Bass, Barry, you are the best in bringing the news. Thank you. Got my packet from Lear Capital. Awesome. Awesome. Lord, please watch over our country and president. I agree, Linda. Leaker let it out about the poop cannon. I wonder if that was the article we were talking about. I wonder if that was the one who got that article on X that I showed you guys about the poop cannon and the 300 rounds per minute. Who knows how that came out? Raven Kirkendall, is it too late to buy silver? I'm going to let Kevin answer that on Monday. Monitor the price over the weekend, so he'll be here Monday. And is it too late to buy silver? I don't know where it's going. I don't know. I mean, if I knew it was going to 300, number one, I'd push all in, and I would tell everybody else, get ready, it's going to go to. But nobody knows what point it's going to go. I think it's safe to say that we're probably going to see 100. But is that enough for you to take a risk on it right now? We'll talk to Kevin. Clayton, just want to say my nephew was just promoted to captain with the United States Airlines. Proud of him, and his wife is expecting a baby. Fantastic. Awesome. Awesome to see a pilot up there doing that. Let's see. Mobile Tech. You see the $130 million in the suitcase was caught? No. How do you put $130 million in a suitcase? That'd be one big suitcase. I'll check it out. And Game Animal, Barry, as usual, great show. Thank you very much. Thank you guys for always, hanging out. We're at 3 hours plus right now. And I never know if I have enough content, if we're going to get through everything with President Trump coming on. But it looks like we got there. So in any event, I will see you at 7:30 tonight. Got a whole bunch of my own stuff, and we'll see what happens in the next couple hours. Looks like the Danish foreign minister will be on Fox tonight. So I'll record that, and we'll have it tonight. All right. Thanks, everybody.